Good morning, guys, and welcome back to the FPL Tom YouTube channel. Of course, we are live ahead of FPL Game Week 24 deadline. So much to discuss in today's deadline stream. Of course, we've got the big news around which player do we captain? Do we go Bruno? Do we go Haaland? Is there a potential other alternative option? I do feel like captaincy is quite open this week, so a lot of questions are going to be asked about that. A lot of people as well are looking to bring in, obviously, Chelsea players ahead of their decent fixture run. Of course, we've got the double game week announcement, which happened earlier in the week. So either Arsenal, Chelsea, Everton, or Wolves will be doubling in game week 26. So if obviously Arsenal win and progress through the Carabao, which they are the favourites to do, then them and Wolves will double. Then, of course, if we look to the other side, if Chelsea manage to come back from that 3-2 deficit, they win, then Chelsea and, of course, Everton will double. There we go. So lots going off at the moment. Of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you hit and subscribe, all that good stuff. You know the drill by now. We're on that road to 30,000 subscribers, and we can only do that with your amazing support. So like I said, like the stream, comment, and hit that subscribe button. Let's have a look what we've got going off in the chat nice and early. We've had Baller X8 say, "Hi Tom, do I sell Palmer / Saka to Bruno? Do I keep due to minutes concerns?" I think I probably would be tempted to keep both of them for this week, purely down to the fact of if either of those double, you definitely want both of them available. And like, it does look likely, I would say, that Palmer is going to play. I still would imagine there's a doubt, and maybe there might be some reduced minutes because of the Carabao Cup game. So if I was to sell any of the two, I would probably lean more towards Palmer than, of course, looking to sell Saka, just because Arsenal have the higher probability of the double game week. That would be the only thing. And I think obviously if you're going to bring in Bruno, if he's going to be your captain or you want to captain in this week, I do think probably the move could be worth it. Terry says, "Good morning, Tom. Love your content. Looking forward to this morning." Well, hopefully we can impress Terry. Reese Mills is in the chat. He says, "Good morning, sir." Hi, mate. I hope you're doing good. Hi, Tom. How are you doing? I'm not too bad, guys. I'm not too bad. Jamie, one of our channel moderators, says, "Let's go, Tom. How are you doing? I hope you're doing good. Well, mate." Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm not buying Chelsea yet. West Ham love playing us. Valid. I remember, though, the game earlier in the season at the London Stadium, didn't it? Like 4-1? 4-1 Chelsea ran out, something like that. Yeah, it was quite heavy a scoreline, wasn't it? Morning, Tom. Would you bench boost Dubravka, Cash, Elliot Anderson, and Van Heck? Ain't a bad bench boost, that. And if it gets it out of the way, like, bench boost is the worst chip out of all of them. I think the only thing is if you're on, like, a similar strategy to me, you can set your bench boost up with quite a few nice doublers. But if you're not feeling like that's going to be the most optimal play, because it might not be, then maybe just go in this week as the single week might potentially be the better route to go for. No worries. Yeah, drop me a follow on Twitter. And just like leave it under one of my videos, one of my posts, and I'll take a look, mate. I'll take a look. But yeah, glad to have inspired. That's what it's all about, isn't it, really? Morning, mate. I'm thinking Ekatike to Thiago and Devaney to Enzo Fernandes. I don't mind those moves. I think Ekatike to Thiago, a little bit sidewaysy, but I mean, if it allows you to upgrade Devaney to Enzo Fernandes, I do like that bit of the move. Andy Burton's in the chat. He says, "Hi, sir. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well." Up the Canary says, "Morning, Krupi or Barry in my wildcard, please." I mean, Barry's the informed striker, isn't he, at the moment? Everton might get a double, so maybe you take the gamble on Barry. Like, if you know, money's not an issue and it doesn't deny you getting any other players, then maybe you go Barry. Like, if they get the double, he's playing decent minutes. That's not a bad option. Not a bad option. JP, Thiago, or Evan Nielsen on the wild card. I think probably. I mean, they're all around predicted the same points on my own model, so I guess that's really difficult to say. I'd say Evan Nielsen's got the fixtures. JP might have, you know, the double. The next 4 fixtures are also pretty decent, but it is the minutes concern. I think on I forgot the account's name, but across all the predictions for this week, João Pedro is like at 50% probability of starting. So I don't think I'd really want that. Thiago, the fixtures on ideal. I don't think he's necessarily a like immediate sell, but I don't also think he's a keep for this week. A buy, sorry, for this week. So I think I'll probably be between Evan Nielsen and João Pedro. I know Evan Nielsen is going to start, so I probably would go with him. But if you've got a little bit of risk in your locker, then maybe João Pedro could be the one. Anton says, "Hi, Tom. How are you?" I'm decent. I'm not too bad. Thanks, guys. Obviously, a little bit quieter this week on the channel. Went away for my birthday. We went to Dublin. It was great. So, yeah, thank you for all the suggestions in last week's stream as well. Yeah, really enjoyed myself. And now I'm a whole year older. There we go. We're getting closer and closer to the unk status. But all good. Looking at the poll, early votes, make sure you're getting your votes in for this one. It is the best captain projections for this game week. And 54% of you have gone for Bruno, 31% have gone for Haaland. I still think Haaland will be probably the most captain player just because of the casuals. But I think amongst the engaged managers, especially on here and on Twitter, it will be, of course, looking at probably Bruno Fernandes. So I reckon both will be quite high. Someone said, where did I go in Dublin? I went in the centre, just around the centre. I think our hotel was near Temple Bar. So yeah, it was good. It was good. It wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad. But yeah, it was decent. I can't complain. I cannot complain, to be honest. Of course, if you want team reviews during today's stream, they will be now done on Discord. You know the drill by now. We've been doing it for quite an extended period of time. But if you do want your team reviewed by me, head over to the FPL Cartel Discord. It is the pinned comment, and I'll quickly put it in the chat again, and we'll get some of those going as well. But yeah, it is the pinned comment. Come and check it out. Of course, that is where team reviews go from now on. And there's also plenty of other perks that do go with joining up as well. So, yeah, there you go. Someone just said, is there going to be team reviews on Twitter? We don't do them on Twitter anymore. They are not now all done over on the Discord server. Palmer, a no-go. For me personally, he's not a sell, but he's not a buy right now. There's just too much uncertainty around his minutes. And I think with the midweek game coming up, yeah, I don't think I'll go for it. I'm actually thinking of Rodgers' cap this week. Don't trust Manchester United till I've seen them against a team that they can't counter against. Yeah, that is a valid point. I was saying something similar to Tom on the Cartel podcast this week. I was basically saying, like, you know, they've played two big games where, you know, they've overperformed on their XG and maybe overperformed in terms of their performance a little bit. So it will be interesting to see if they've still got the same levels for a game just against Fulham. You know what I mean? Liverpool assets, keep or sell. I think I'm keeping them this week because it allows me to get to free transfers next week. Then I've got the information to decide what do I do with the double game week then. That is kind of where my head is at and what I think I'm probably going to do this week. All right. Tom, need a coin flip for captaincy, Bruno or Haaland, and who to start, Thiago or Bowen? Ooh, I probably would go... I think I'd still go Thiago. And for coin flip, we can do a coin flip in a bit. I reckon we'll do it in a little bit. Build up some tension for the coin flip, all right? We'll do that in we'll do it at 9, all right? 9 o'clock, we'll do a big juicy coin flip for whether you go Haaland or Bruno on the captaincy, all right? And there we go. The coin will have spoken then. Thoughts on replacing Palmer, Cherky, Thiago, and Watkins with Pedro, Fernandes, Evanilson, Rodgers for a -4. It would set me up for a good bench boost in 26. I don't hate it. Sounds like you've got a decent plan in place. I always don't mind a -4 if it's going to get the team structure where you want it to be. And yeah, it looks like you're bringing in some pretty decent players, to be honest. The only one I do have a little bit of concern around is João Pedro and his minutes for this week. But yeah, let's wait and see. Start Thiago or Elliot Anderson. I never like benching penalty takers, so I probably would still go with Thiago. Evanilson or Thiago to start. I think you go Evanilson this week. Play one of them, Harry Wilson, Cherky, or Chow. I probably would play... I'd probably play Harry Wilson there. For reference, by the way, guys, as well, we do this sort of thing, the benching decisions in the Cartel Discord as well. Like, we've been doing them all week for people, helping them out. Of course, as well, we've been doing it with the model as well, suggesting which ones to go for as well. So, yeah, plenty to going on. Morning, Dan. Hope you're doing good. Andy says, Tom, best free forwards with price in mind. I mean, to be honest, none of the forwards are great right now, are they? They're all a little bit mid. So yeah, for me personally, I think, you know, Bowen's probably up there now just because of his penalties, and he's just a very good 90-minute man as well. Like, he just has all that in his locker, doesn't he? So yeah, Bowen's not a bad one. And then I probably would be saying, you know, Thiago's fine, but the fixtures aren't quite there for him. I think, again, João Pedro, the minutes are just a little bit too dicey for me to risk. Evan Nielsen's got the fixtures, so probably he makes it into this category as well. So, yeah, there's not bad players, is there? There's not bad players. Chalobah captain. I mean, Chalobah's pulling points out of every single direction, so I don't hate it, but, there's probably more exciting picks. But, hey, if you think he's going to do well this week, then I'm not going to sway you off it. I am a big Trevor Chalobah fan. Watkins or Tammy Abraham, even if Watkins start, he won't finish, and Aston Villa score late a lot. I personally would just not just avoid it. I would, wait and see. I wouldn't want to get Tammy in and then Watkins is back next week. Same vice versa. If Watkins is missing out for an extended period of time, then I've got to make a further transfer. Personally, for me, I would just skip it and not look at it. I'm not gapping him because Olympians gapping him. Like, that was one of the things I saw it yesterday, and I was like, oh, God. I saw it yesterday, and I was like, oh, no. Purely the only reason is he is the top scoring player on my own model, so we're back in my own model, I guess. Yeah. Hello, Tarkowski or Mateus Nunes. I think I would go Mateus Nunes on that one. Yeah, could be a little bit spicy, that. I mean, it's not a bad fixture for Everton this week, but Mateus Nunes, his minutes seem pretty decent. So, yeah, I don't mind that one. Who's got the better clean sheet odds this week? Who has the better clean sheet odds? What we got? Everton with only a 19% for Everton's quite low, isn't it, this week? City at 32. Then yeah, I think that's probably where my mind would to be honest, would be going. Like I said, guys, team reviews are now over in the FPL Cartel Discord. If you want to come and get your team reviewed by me, we have a section over in our Discord. Load up the right Discord. We have a section in our Discord called the FPL Tom Stream. We also have one for Golden Goal. Of course, if you don't know, it is a collaboration between me and Golden Goal Fantasy Football. So make sure you're coming over, leaving your teams in here for review, and we'll take a look and we'll get round to doing some. All right. And if you're already a member, get your teams in and we'll review them live on stream. Sweet. Thank you very much for joining the FPL Tom fan pack, or the Soggy Biscuit Club as it used to be called back in the day. Thank you very much, mate. I know you was originally a member, but thank you for joining again. Really do appreciate it. Tom, what do you think about Saka's minutes this week? I think they'll be fine this week. Purely because he didn't play midweek, played 0 minutes midweek. No, he came off the bench, did he not? No, he played 0. He played 0 minutes last in midweek. So I think he'll play a pretty decent amount of minutes. And Arsenal kind of need to start winning some more games in the Premier League. So I think Arteta will probably go full strength. Madueke also played a full 90. I reckon Saka probably plays back-to-back games. Then it's the Sunderland game where I'm a little bit more concerned about him next week. However, for this week, I feel, quite strong that he's going to probably play. So I'm definitely there. Tom, do you believe player point projections are more accurate from FF Hub or FF Scout? I think Scout are ahead. Yeah, Scout are ahead, I think, for projections this year. I think they're leading apart from, like, goalkeeper. I've just sent the link into the Discord, mate, if anybody wants to join as well. Yeah, no, only OGs remember the Soggy Biscuit Club. That was one back in the day, wasn't it, really? Yeah. Why is Devaney flagged injured? I think he's injured. I think he said knee injury when I checked yesterday. What are my moves this week? So the moves I've been thinking about were dropping Ekatike down to Krupi and upgrading Devaney to like an Enzo Fernandes, which I didn't hate. I still don't hate, and I still could very easily do this week. However, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, right, I'm pretty confident Enzo starts this week, but there always that doubt that he doesn't, because they've got a lot of fixtures coming up very quick succession, and that, obviously, him playing in midweek, then, a big game the following midweek, maybe he's going to be benched, maybe he might see reduced minutes. Is it worth it? Ekatike and Sobo, I feel pretty confident that they should start this week, right? So I'm looking at it, and I'm going to myself, why am I taking out players that are going to definitely start for somebody that's a little bit of a minutes risk? And I don't really know. And Krupi, is probably only going to play 60 against Wolves, right? So I was like, okay, I think longer term, the structure sets itself up nicely. But I think the more important thing is taking 3 into next week, then having a look Obviously, we'll have the information about who's doubling. So if it's Arsenal, great, we're in a already decent position. If it's Chelsea, then I've got free transfers to really attack that double game week with then and really set the team structure up. So it might be bringing in a João Pedro. It might be bringing in an Enzo Fernandes. It might be finding the money to get a Chalobah, to get a Sanchez. Like, this is all the stuff that is running through my mind. Of course, we've already got Pickford for the double as well. So these are all the things that I'm looking at and how I can really attack the week the following week. So maybe this week, limping through, hoping that Chelsea assets don't go too big against me, is probably going to be the play. Then, of course, we'll see how the land lies, because at that point, we'll have the information. We can attack the weeks a little bit better and have a better understanding of what those weeks are going to look like. So, yeah, there we go. Simple as that. There we go. Those are my thoughts for this week. There you go. What we got going off in the chat? Are you sure you're captaining Bruno? Yeah, pretty sure, mate. I'm pretty sure on that one. I took a -12 to triple up on Manchester United players: Cunha, Bruno, and Mbuemo. I have Mane, Kelleher, Senesi, Thiago on the bench. Should I bench boost to offset the -12? You could do. Like, it's not a terrible bench boost, but I don't think it's going to be like, Brentford are not favourites to win that game against Aston Villa. Aston Villa have got a pretty decent home record. So, you might be just looking at 2 from Thiago and Kelleher, and then maybe, you're hoping for a Senesi clean sheet. However, they've conceded the most away goals and have the one of the worst away records in the league. So I don't even think it's that great a bench boost opportunity, to be honest. Yeah, that's just me anyway. Hi, mate. Thinking of selling O'Reilly to Chalobah, like Foden to Bruno. Thoughts? Both absolutely cracking moves. Yeah, honestly, I think both of those are great. Removing Gordon for Sharda, I'm not really a big fan of the Brentford fixtures coming up. I think there are plenty of better midfielders to potentially be selecting this week. Bruno captain seems more risky than Haaland. Why? United are in good form. Bruno's in good form. He's starting in the 10. Interestingly, 10s. Fulham have conceded the most goal involvements to cams or /10s in the league. I think it's like 0.44 goal involvements per game have been conceded from cams. So, yeah, a lot obviously going against them as well. Yeah. I personally, for me, there's only 3 Chelsea players that I'm looking at. It's Chalobah. It would be Sanchez if I needed a goalkeeper. And it's probably Enzo Fernandes. Maybe Palmer and maybe João Pedro enter the thing. But other than that, yeah, probably not for me. Ben has just sent in his team to the Discord. So let's go and check that out. Thank you very much, mate. Hope you're doing good this morning. Which one is it? It's that one. There it is. Boom. Let's head over to the Discord. Thank you very much, Ben. Like I said, guys, if you do want to get your team reviewed by me, the Discord is popping off these days as well. It's very, very active. Very good Discord we've got over there. So do get your teams sent in over here. Ben has said, did Thiago to Krupi with the idea of bringing him back in a few game weeks to enable me to go Gordon to Bruno. Should I captain Bruno or should I captain Haaland? I think, right, I like the move you've done. I think that's great. I think I probably would be more tempted with the Bruno captain than the Haaland captain this week. Like, Haaland's not a bad option, like, by any stretch of the imagination. He's still a great captaincy option. He always is every single week. However, I think Bruno this week is probably just shining to be the better captain. And that's not only me speaking, that's from my model. I think it's from Review have him top as well. And I think Solio also have him top for projections for this game week. Like I said, Fulham have conceded the most goals to number 10s in the league. So that's already a big tick. Obviously, everything else that comes with Bruno Fernandes as well. Like, he could just get DEFCON and maybe like an assist and he'll still come away with a decent haul because of his baseline bonus being so good. So I think for me, yeah, I'm leaning more towards the Bruno Fernandes captaincy pick. And I think if you fancy it as well, then go for it. Yeah, I don't hate it. Is Cherki a must sell? He scored 3 in the last 5 for City, Newcastle, FA Cup, 2 Champions League goals. Otherwise, I'm considered rolling. I think he is a sell. Personally, I believe he is a sell for this week. Thiago to Krupi to Anderson and Mbuemo 1.3 million in the bank. Ekatike, Evan Nilsson, Anderson. Like, see, I would personally rather get rid of Cherki than Anderson. Like, Anderson is a guy that is just a very steady Eddie. Like, yeah, I personally, for me, would rather get rid of Cherki than Anderson. Like, Cherki, I think, is very 50-50 this week on potentially playing. Like, I wouldn't want to put a number on it, but I think I probably just have, haven't I? 50-50 for me. Anderson, like, he's just going to roll out. Like, he is just going to roll out. I think the long-term structure with this team is probably looking to, downgrade one of the forwards and upgrade the Lewis Miley spot. Yeah, and for me, I think Cherky goes before you even start considering Elliot Anderson, in my opinion. So, yeah, like I said, Cherky has to go for me before Anderson. Like I said, Anderson is just a very steady Eddie. He's a guy that you can rely on most weeks. Cherky, just too inconsistent. Like, you don't know when it's going to happen. You don't know when it's going to be. So, yeah, he would be the one that I would go for as a potential player to remove this week. Like I said, guys, if you do want to get your team reviewed by me, it is the pinned comment. It is the comment I'm just about to put in the chat there as well. And yeah, there it is. There it is. Right. Let's head back to the main screen. See what's kicking off in the chat. Anderson DEFCON, a few returns for in every... Yeah, literally, like, his DEFCON numbers are pretty decent, like near 50-ish%. So most weeks you're going to come away with a decent-ish number. So I don't hate it. I really, really don't hate it. What are we at in terms of likes for today's stream? Only 25. Come on, guys. There's over 200 of you in here. Let's see if we can smash that up to 50 likes. It would be amazing to see nice and early. So let's see if we can get this up to 50 likes this morning. Obviously, like I said, if you do want to join the FPL cartel, there is the link there. That is where all team reviews will be going as well. Should I start Sharda or Wilson? Ooh, I think I'd be more tempted to play Wilson. Yeah, I think I probably would. Start O'Reilly or Leclerc? I probably would go Leclerc. Any cheap defender recommendation not from Chelsea or Arsenal? I mean, like, Senesi could be the one. Senesi might be the one that you potentially look at going for. Like, there's some decent fixtures coming up for Bournemouth. I don't hate it. If Everton get the double, maybe you look at one of their defenders potentially. Yeah, what about maybe a Matty Cash potentially could also be in there as well. Like, he doesn't hit DEFCON, but his points per game aren't too bad. So yeah, I don't hate those as moves. Thoughts on the Saka drop off? Yeah, it's been frustrating, hasn't it? Saka has just been nowhere near the mark, has he really? But he's got to stay, because if they get that double, he looks like a great option for captaincy, because, there's an FA Cup game in between it against Wigan, so he's always going to be a captaincy option for that one. But if they don't double, then I'm really tempted to sell him next week for Palmer if Chelsea get the double. That is also a move that is kind of swiggling through my mind at the moment, is to potentially get rid of Saka for Palmer if, of course, Chelsea then double rather than the Arsenal double. So yeah, that's where I'm at. So yeah. One free transfer: Sobo, Rogers, Stack, Saka, and then Mbeumo 0.6 in the bank. Who should I bring in? I would probably be more tempted with Rogers or Mbeumo for me. Those would be the two that I probably would be looking to go for. Hi Tom, should I buy Rogers or Enzo? I think Chelsea, you get that potential of a double game week. You get a nice 4 fixture run. So I probably would lean more towards Enzo Fernandes. Hi, should I sell Semenyo for Bruno? Did I play it wrong? I would leave Semenyo. Like, he's going to play today. Like, he's still a pretty decent asset. So yeah, I probably would leave it for this week. Unless you're, of course, going to captain Bruno. That would probably be the only reason. But other than that, yeah, I'd be tempted to leave Semenyo. I think he's still a pretty decent asset for this week. Yeah, all the big premiums haven't really done anything, have they, really, to be honest? They have made the game quite difficult for a lot of people. We have just hit over 50 likes, so thank you very much. We're absolutely smashing it in today's stream already. I've got a feeling it could be a big one. Lots of questions flying around this week. Thoughts on Munoz on the wildcard? Yeah, my model really does like Munoz, so yeah, I'm obviously a big fan of that move. Speaking of my model, let's bring up some of the projections from this week then. This is the top players for game week 24. Now, all I'm going to say is the Sanchez one is wrong. I had him down as a penalty taker when I was pulling out the numbers, so he's actually like at 5.2, so he wouldn't even feature on this list, but hey-ho, it is what it is. He's still a great pick for this week. Interestingly, Salah, top of the model, so we'll have to see how that one works. Obviously, pulling a little bit from his previous season's data rather than this season's, but, goal and assist in the Champions League, maybe could be a decent option for this week. Bruno Fernandes, of course, 7.9. That's why we've selected him. Haaland at 7.4. Also still a pretty decent captaincy option for this week. Someone said about Trevor Chalobah, he features 5th on this list in terms of projected points for this week, so might actually be a pretty decent option. We're also seeing Mbeumo and Enzo, the big debate for a lot of FPL managers this week, also feature on there, and there isn't really too much to split them, and that is, of course, for their whole kind of stint as well. Interestingly, I have put a minutes kind of factor on Mbeumo in the model just because we have seen, him coming off with some early substitutions. If, of course, that changes, then we'll put him back up to like full 90 minutes. But for now, right now, he is obviously one of those players that kind of is getting some early substitution, so that's why we've got him there. Mukiele with that great fixture, obviously been absolutely smashing points. And someone just asked me about Semenyo. He does again feature on this list. He would be 9th, actually. Of course, like I said, Sanchez with the penalties. Yeah, it was a mistake. But other than that, that is how the model is lined up. Of course, if you want to come and see the full model, look at your team. We do kind of, model team ratings as well, helping you with benching decisions, as well as, of course, offering our own advice. That can all be found in the FPL cartel. Like I said, pin comment for that one if you want to get yourself involved in that. And obviously, team ratings, all that good stuff goes with it. Yeah. I really should have got a bit of tissue before I started streaming today. That was an error on my part. Nose is a little bit runny, but we're all good. We're all good. What's kicking off in the chat then? Rice, Bruno, F, and G, all good points. Notice they mostly play all 8s. Yeah. Hi, mate. Is Enzo crucial this week, or should I roll and keep Wilson and Anderson? I don't think he's necessarily crucial because obviously Palmer didn't play midweek. I expect maybe some minutes for Palmer. That means, of course, he's got less chance of getting penalties, so his penalty appeal has gone down a little bit. He's also probably not going to play in the 10 if Palmer's playing. He might play in the 8, so a little bit further deeper back. So, yeah, there's kind of, some factors that are potentially going against him this week, but he's still a very, very good option. Would I say he's absolutely essential? You need to be bringing him in this week? Probably not, but he's still a very good player to have, of course. Who should I buy for a long-term defender? I have 4.4 million in the bank. Let me have a look for you. Who you should go for. 4.4 is not a lot of money, but we'll see if we can find somebody for you. All right, we'll see if you can find someone. I might need to just grab a bit of tissue in a second. Like I said, my nose is a little bit runny, but we'll be decent. We'll be decent. Right, let's put this into the model. See who we're getting spat out at 4.4. Who have we got in here? So the next few weeks, Alderente's up there. Chris Richards is actually the top one for the 4.4 million. Palace have some pretty decent fixtures, so if you've not got Chris Richards, he could be a decent one to potentially go for. Just having a look who else we've got in there. Harry Maguire from Manchester United could also be a pretty decent one. So yeah, they're kind of the ones that you maybe want to look at. Other than that, maybe a Wolves defender, but I don't really want a Wolves defender. I'm just going to quickly grab a bit of tissue, so give me 1 second. Oh. Right, there we go. We're back. We are back. Apologies about that, guys. Sometimes my nose in the morning can be a little bit temperamental, but we're all good. We are all good. No, I think they like Maguire. They really, really do like Maguire, don't they? Is Haaland a differential captain at this point? He definitely will be probably at some of his lowest effective ownership we've seen in a decent amount of weeks. I imagine maybe like 150, 160, but I think still a lot of casuals will still end up picking Haaland, to be honest, this week. Like, he'll still be the casuals kind of pick, won't he? But yeah, he definitely will be lower this week than usual. Hi, Tom, would you bench Wilson or Delo? I would personally probably bench Delo. What If you want to send me your teams, guys, you're probably best not putting it in the chat. The best place, like I said, to come and do that is in the Discord, where you can get a full review, full rating of your team. Like I said, I won't be able to see your team if you're putting it in the chat because the chat is moving very quickly today. So if you want to come and sign up for that, I will post the link in the chat again for you guys. Hang on. There you go. Get yourself in there. Easy peasy. Hi, Tom. Should I bench Thiago or Ekitike? I probably would be more tempted to bench Thiago, I'm going to say. It's a tough one, but yeah, I think I probably will be. Ekitike, Evan Nielsen, and Kanate Chalobah. I really like Ekitike, though. If you like Ekitike, then keep him for one more week. Like, I don't think it's like the be-all and end-all. I don't think Evan Nielsen is this super guy that's going to completely change your game. If you can afford the Kanate to Chalobah move on its own, then just do that one. Hey, Tom, should I do Garner to Mbuemo, then Ekitike to Krupa Jr., or Anderson to Mbuemo? I think you go... I think I'd actually probably be tempted a little bit more with Garner. His DEFCON numbers weren't anywhere near what they have been. And obviously, you know, who is it back? Is it Gay who's come back from the African Cup of Nations? You know, eating into those DEFCON numbers for him on Monday night. So I'd be a little bit tempted with Gardner, to be honest. Also, Dewsbury Hall being back probably means less set piece share for him as well. So yeah, that's kind of where my head would be at with that one. Hey Tom, start 2 from Haaland, Wilson, Martin. I probably would go Haaland and Wilson there. Yeah, they're the ones for me. Quick question: Muklele or Brobby? Sorry, to start. I would go Mook. I have 0.6 in the bank. I answered this one. I said I probably would look at. Did I answer this one? I can't remember. I have 0.6 in the bank with Saka, Rogers, and Buemo Sobo stack. Should I roll or use a transfer? I personally would just roll. Like if you wanted to do Sobo to Enzo, that probably would be the move I would do. Other than that, I think you could probably get away with rolling that. But yeah, I think that's probably the only move I would maybe suggest for this week. Would you pick Gahey in a wild card? I don't mind it. I don't mind Gahey on a wild card, yeah. You know, he's going to play decent minutes for City, given the lack of centre backs that they've got. So yeah, I don't hate it. I really don't hate it as a potential option to maybe look at. We were going to do a big coin flip for the Haaland or Bruno debate. So we're going to put Bruno as heads. We're going to put Haaland as tails. I said I'd do that about 9 o'clock. So here we go. Let's give it a flick. It's heads, which is Bruno Fernandes. So the coin has spoken. It is suggesting that Bruno Fernandes is the better captaincy option for this game week. Start Bruno G or roll. I can't really see the rest of your team, so it's a little bit hard to say. But yeah, I think obviously with him being a little bit touch and go, he could play, he might not play, but I think he either starts or he doesn't feature at all. So who have you got on your bench, I guess, is the bigger question. Hi, Tom. 2 free transfers, Saka to Mbuemo and Dorgu to Chalobah. I don't hate both of those moves. The only problem I think you might have is if Arsenal then get the double game week, you know, you want as many Arsenal players as possible for that double, won't you, really? Thoughts on KDH as an enabler over the likes of Anderson since the potential of a double? Yeah, I really don't mind KDH as a 5 million. You either get him playing in the blank, obviously, if they don't progress. And I think Everton have got an all right fixture for that week. Let me have a look who they've got for that week. Because this is the thing, if you bring in these players in, right, they're either going to double or they're either going to feature in the blank, which works wonders if you're on a wild card for 32 as well. So who've Everton got in game week 31? Okay, they've got Chelsea, so it's not the ideal fixture, but it's still a fixture at the end of the day if they get there. It's kind of the thing, isn't it? If they do get there, then at least they've got a fixture to potentially go for. I still probably would go Enzo Lafay. I think just the penalty appeal, really, isn't it? Yeah, just the penalty appeal. Probably would be enough for me to go for it. Yeah, probably would be enough for me to go for it. Hi, Tom. Should I take a hit for Ekitike to Krupi, Foden to Bruno, and then Xhaka to Rice? I don't mind that. I really don't mind that as a -4. I think it sets you up quite nicely for the next few weeks. So yeah, I don't actually hate that. Yeah. Bench order, Chow, DCL, Anderson, or play either free over Anderson. I'm guessing you mean the other Anderson. I probably wouldn't. No, I probably would leave it as that. No idea who to bench this game week. Bench one. I think you probably bench. And this is a crazy one. I do believe it's probably between Alderente and Ekatike. I really do. I think Enzo's got a great fixture. Chalobah should be pretty decent. Timber's apparently back as well. So yeah, I guess it probably is Alderente or Ekatike you're benching there, to be honest. No worries. No Chelsea players is diabolical, especially after they've started gaining form. Let's wait and see, hey. Like I said, I'm taking the free into next week, and we'll then obviously assess what we need to do ahead of the double. I think that's just the better way to play it. Like if Chelsea surprise us all midweek and win that game, which they very easily could, we could be in a position where we go, right, I need to go and get free Chelsea. I've got free transfers, where I don't think a lot of FPL managers will they, to be honest. Saka or Rice for the double game week. I probably marginally prefer Rice. However, with there being an FA Cup game in between both of those games, I think Saka could be a pretty decent captaincy option for that game week. So I really do like the look of him as a potential captaincy option for that week. Start 2, Van Dijk, Guehi, Thiago, Dewsbury Hall. I probably would go... I think I'd actually probably go Van Dijk and Guehi, Yeah, they probably would be the one. Hi, Tom. What do you think about bench boost with Bergen, Guehi, Tarkowski, and Krupi? I don't mind it. Again, though, we are going to get further doubles down the line where you might want to play the bench boost, but I don't hate it. I'm tripled upon Chelsea already. Nice. Who are you triple? Because that's what I want to know with people. If you already are on a triple Chelsea fan, if you're already on triple Chelsea, let me know what triple you are going for this game week. I would be interested to see how that triple is kind of lining up for this week. Of course, guys, if you're enjoying any of the content that you see on the channel, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe. You know the drill by now. We're on that road to, of course, hitting 30,000 subscribers. And who knows, by the end of the weekend, we might have 26K, which would be a pretty decent number to be on. Like I said, only 4K then to the end of the season. Very much possible. And we could, like I said, hit that 30K subscriber mark, which would be pretty cool. Yeah, I can't lie. That would be pretty decent. So I'd be happy with that. I'd be happy with that. I might need to blow my nose in a second again. Yeah, let me have a quick toot on the nose, and then we'll start answering some more questions. Like I said, guys, if you do want your team rating, the best place to come and get that done is over in the FPL Cartel Discord. That is where I do all of my team ratings, and you can get them done live on stream. You get also access to my model and, of course, our Discord server and everything else that goes with that. So there's the link for that one if you are, of course, want your team rating by me. Otherwise, I can't see it. It's too quick, and I don't want to spend like hours and hours on these things. Hi, Tom. Do I play Tarkowski or Anderson? I would be a little bit more tempted with Tarkowski. Thiago or Wilson, who to bench is so tough, isn't it? I never really like benching penalty takers, but I think Wilson could also be, one of those explosive player picks for this week. I'm going to go still with Thiago just for the penalties. Should I play Maguire over Senesi? Probably not, given it's a decent fixture for Bournemouth. However, they are pretty leaky at the back, so you never know. Would you play Harry Wilson or Tarkowski? It's a good question. It's one, Harry Wilson keeps coming up. So I'm going to have a look where he's at in terms of the model projections for this week. Because I feel like it's one of those where Harry Wilson is a player that a lot of people seem to be benching this week. So where is he at? Harry Wilson. And this one was Tarkowski, right? Tarkowski. So, looking at the model's projections, that is for the next 5. I didn't want for the next 5. I wanted for this week. That's annoying. Hang on one second. Harry Wilson and Tarkowski. Here we go. Harry Wilson edges it by 0.1 points, by the way, for this game week. I've genuinely just looked, and yeah, He's edged it by 0 0.1. So there you go. 0 0.1 difference between the two of them. And it is suggesting slightly better for Harry Wilson. And I think with Everton only having a 19% probability of a clean sheet, I would be a little bit more tempted on that one. Is Welbeck a good pick? Not for me personally. Like, he's lost probably penalties now with Pascal Gross and missing his last one as well. So that's completely downgraded him as an option for me, in my personal opinion. And the minutes are just too rotationary. So yeah, Welbeck, not a pick, in my opinion. Yeah, not really a pick. Of course, guys, if you're enjoying today's stream, we are ridiculously close to hitting 100 likes on the stream already. So make sure you are hitting that subscribe button. Make sure you're hitting the like button as well, as it does push it out to more people in the community. Looking at the poll, we've still got Bruno Fernandes top of the captaincy for this week. 30% looking at Haaland as well. 7% on other. If you are going for other, let me know which player you are going for. 0.1 points is enough for me. Cheers, Tom. Yeah, it could be very tight, that one. Can you run projections for Wilson and Thiago? Yeah, of course I can. Like I said, if you want to come and look at this for yourself and do like all your team and stuff, there is access to my model in the Discord server. So we got Harry Wilson. And who did we have? Thiago, right? Thiago. So Harry Wilson is at Harry Wilson and Thiago both at 4.5 for projections this week. So I probably again would just still maybe go Thiago just for the penalties. I never like benching penalty takers, but yeah, there we go. Can you run the model for Maguire and Senesi then? Yeah, of course we can. Of course we can. No problems. Like I said, guys, if you want to come and get full access to this and do this for your whole team, then it is available in the FPL Cartel Discord server. So we've got Maguire and we've got Senesi. Senesi at 4.2 for this game week and Maguire at 4. So it would suggest starting Senesi ahead of Maguire. There you go. There you go. If anybody else has got any of those as well that we can take a look at, we will as well. Like I said, though, if you want to get full access to the model, do this with all your team, get your own team rated and whatever. Yeah, you know the drill by now. It's in the Discord. Everything goes through the Discord as well. I think with the wild card, right, it's hard to predict who's going to double. So I think the good thing is you'd probably still go triple Arsenal. You'd probably still go double or at least triple Chelsea. I maybe would be tempted to like just pick up one Everton player just in case they're part of the double. So maybe like a Pickford in goal. Like he is a player that you either have for game week 31, which is great for the blank, or he is a player then that you get for the double, and you've got Dubravka, who of course can cover you for that week anyway. So yeah, I don't mind it. Should I bring in Anderson? I mean, he's all right, but like I don't know if I'd use a transfer on him personally. He is just a steady Eddie. I know that one. Wilson is way ahead of where Mane is. Mane's at like 2.5 for the projection for this week. So yeah, there you go. I did Foden to Fernandes and Bruno G to KDH, leaving me 0.9 in the bank. Don't hate it. Enzo Fernandez or Vert, I would go Enzo. Will Palmer start? I'm thinking of giving him a last chance today. I'm not 100% sure he does, but if he does, he probably only plays around 60, I reckon. I think he probably does start, but, you know, some of the projections still don't have him starting for this week, do they? It's a toughie. -4 hit, worth it to get Evanilson from Thiago/Ekatike. Not personally for me. Yeah, I don't see the value in that -4 kind of lining up for me. Hi, Tom. Tarkowski or Cash this week? I probably would go with Cash, maybe. Like, Brentford are pretty poor travellers on the road. Villa have a pretty decent home record. So, yeah, I probably would go with Cash. Should I captain Enzo? He's good fixtures and is on pens, but he's not been playing 90. He's been playing pretty decent minutes in recent weeks. So, yeah. Pens, though, if Palmer plays, he isn't on the pens. So, I don't know if that's a guarantee that he's 100% on pens this week. So, yeah. Oscar won't be live because they don't usually go live till about 11:30. Remember, the deadline isn't till 1:30 this week, guys. So, yeah, all of your favorite bigger content creators, you know, your Andys, your Raptors, your Focals, your Harrys, they probably won't be live till about 11:30. But that's where we fill the void. We come in a little bit earlier and we do our streams here. That's the point of it. Thoughts on a full wildcard penalty takers team? I love it. I am a slut for penalties, so I'm a big fan of it. Pope or Dubravka, close call. I think I probably would actually play Dubravka this week, and I think the model might agree with me. We'll take a look. I'll get this set up in the week for next week so we can actually see the mod. Like, we'll have a model screen, because if I put it on this one's set up for just the FPL website and it's too much to one side, so it's really annoying. It is really annoying. But yeah, I'll get it set up for next week so we can start playing around with some model projections on stream and give you guys a rough idea of what the model looks like. Pope and Dubravka. Oh, Pope's slightly edging it. So 3.8 for Pope, 3.7 for Dubravka. But I think personally, given the clean sheet numbers we can see here, I would be a little bit tempted to maybe just take that 0.1 difference there. As you can see, Newcastle at 15, Burnley at 21. I think I probably would still maybe go with Dubravka on that one. But as you can see, it is very, very tight in the model. So, yeah, a little bit of a 50-50 call for that one. Hi, Tom. Is Chalobah a good option for the next few weeks? 100%. Really big fan of Trevor Chalobah as well. Playing 5 at the back, I can imagine the joys of getting clean sheets from all of that. Yeah, the clean sheets, they are succulent. They are very, very succulent when you get them, aren't they? Especially if you're playing a 5-back as well. Oh, right. Let's head back to the stream. See what comments we got. Someone's asked me, what is my chip strategy? My chip strategy is to maybe look at triple captaincy on like a Gabriel for game week 26. We'll have a look, of course, see what the projections are saying for that week. Then other than that, we are going to dead end the team into game week 31. Then we're going to wildcard in game week 32. Attack, obviously, the doubles in 33 and 36 with our triple captaincy, bench boost. Then the plan is to free hit in game week 34 to, of course, navigate the blank game week and get the best out of all the doubles for the wild card. So, yeah, that's what we're thinking. Plan for this week as well is to just roll. Yeah, roll. Take 3 into next week. See, obviously, what the team's position is in, the team structure is in, and yeah, deal with it there, I guess, because we've got a lot of issues, I would say, to deal with potentially next week. So having 3 in hand, having the information on who's going to double could really put us in a good position going forward as well. When is the best time to bench boost? Is wildcarding now? I personally don't think the best time to wildcard is now. Like, you still don't know who the double is in 26, so it's a little bit hard to call. I also think as well, like, you know, trying to navigate blanks and the doubles is going to be extremely difficult if you're activating the wildcard now. But if you're way back, then maybe it is worth doing, potentially. A succulent Chinese meal. I love that meme. It is a great meme, isn't it? Hi, mate. I can't decide between Semenyo or Mbeumo. I think Mbeumo is the better longer-term pick. Semenyo probably this week, for me, maybe edges it. But still, Mbeumo's projections are still pretty decent. What do you think about Calvert-Lewin as a differential? I don't mind it, but the Leeds fixtures are a bit difficult over the next few weeks. He's not bad. But again, would I be using a transfer on him? Probably not. I don't really like any of the forwards within the game right now. I do probably believe it is Haaland or Bowen. That's about it. I just don't think anybody else is really there. Which teams will likely double in 33 in the other game weeks you mentioned? So yeah, the 33 double will probably be the City game. Whoever, obviously City or Newcastle progresses to the final, it's looking more likely to be Manchester City given their strong commanding lead that they took out with the first leg. So it will probably be the game that City have in 31 that will probably go into there. In 33, so City would play where is it? 31. Who've they got? So Palace. So their double would be Palace and Arsenal. That would be City's double in 33. The other 36 could again be either that Carabao Cup game or will be FA Cup semi-finalists. So of course we don't know who the FA Cup semi-finalists are yet. And of course we're not at any stage where we can start to really map that out with projections and stuff like that. Because we're still quite a way back. So yeah, we're only just going into the 4th round. But Of course, I think, if you want as many blanks and as many doubles to happen, what you're probably going to be rooting for over the next few weeks is as many Premier League teams to start progressing through the FA Cup, avoiding each other. So, you just keep as many as you possibly can in. Then, of course, yeah, we could get more and more chaos and stuff like that. So, yeah, there you go. I'm happy to keep owning Bowen for now, but I'm not keen on how wide he's playing in the new system. Proper right mid, yeah. I guess though you get DEFCON out of him, so you're gonna get 4 out of him most weeks, right? Um, like the model absolutely loves him because of his points per game are very, very steady, very, very decent. I think he might be a sell, maybe like 26, 27. That's probably where I think I would maybe pop off Jared Bowen, to be honest. Starts to Krupe, Marne, Timber, Cash, Muklele, Timber, and Mook. Is Verts to Rogers or Mbuemo worth it, or just roll? I think it's a decent move. Like I rate the move, but you could very easily roll. But yeah, I don't mind it. So is game week 31 the blank game week for Arsenal Chelsea? Yes. So whoever makes the Carabao Cup final will be the fixtures that will be blank in there. So if Arsenal make it, their fixture will be blank in. If City make it, their fixture will be blank in. Does that make sense? Yeah, a lot of people looking at Munoz as well. I think he is a pretty steady Eddie. Again, the model absolutely loves him as well. So yeah. Did we get any news on Watkins? It was touch and go from what I heard. Yeah, touch and go regarding this weekend. So not really ideal if you're holding or buying, is it, to be honest? Should Harry Wilson be kept in the team or sold? Will he keep scoring, do you think? I don't think he's a bad player. I don't think he's like an immediate sell. The problem I've got is, they've just bought Oscar Bob. So that's another player, another bit of competition. His contract's up at the end of the year. So they might, there's still the window open. If somebody puts in a random bid, then yeah, there we go. Like the random bid might come in because his contract's up and Fulham might go, well, it's a bit of money. They could just sell him before the deadline and then you're left a little bit screwed as well. They've also got the players coming that have come back from AFCON. They'll start eating into his minutes as well. Like, there's just so many factors, I think, going against Harry Wilson than for Harry Wilson right now. But maybe he's playing for that new contract. Maybe he's going for the Salah effect, and maybe it could work the other way. There you go. Nope, the model is not Review's model. It is my own model that I've built that you can come and get access to in our Discord server. Yeah, completely built by me. There you go. There you go. Wildcard Tarkowski or Munoz. Ooh, I would be maybe tempted with Tarkowski just in case Everton get that double. That could be interesting. But I really do like Munoz. I think he is a pretty decent option to go for. Star KDH or Mane. I would probably go. I think I'll probably go KDH. Yeah, I probably would go KDH for that one. That would be the way that I would lean on that one. Thank you very much for over 100 likes on today's stream. Really do appreciate it. Thank you very much. If we can keep, obviously, the likes coming in, it would be absolutely great. And obviously keep those subscriptions coming in as well. I'm really worried about triple Arsenal. Thanks for the video, Tom. Made it to 38k. Very nice. For me personally, I wouldn't be. Like, if they get the double in 26, you absolutely want that triple Arsenal, don't you? So, yeah, like I said, give it one more week. Be a little bit patient, and we'll see the outcome of the Carabao. If, of course, Arsenal don't make it there, then I think, Saka will be sold off by the masses. I'm winning my mini league by 40 points. Would it be better to wildcard now and get a big enough lead to handle the later wildcard by everyone else? I personally disagree. I think if you've already got a strong lead, let them do the chasing. Let them come and catch you up, right? The next few weeks might be a little bit iffy, whatever. But if you're in a decent position for the double in 26, you'll be fine. And navigating the blanks and the doubles with chips in hand and the wild card in hand, I think will give you the upper edge over those guys because they'll be thinking in the back of their mind, we need to chase this guy down. We need the 40 points. We need to find ways to how to get to him. If they go with the same strategy of you as delaying the wild card, playing the double game weeks, you're probably going to have fairly similar-ish teams. And it's going to be hard for them to, look to make those gains up when everyone else is kind of picking the same players. They've got to go this week. If they don't go this week, they probably aren't going to catch you unless, of course, you massively cock it up, in my opinion. But I think genuinely the play is be patient, attack the doubles and the blanks if you've already got a healthy lead, in my opinion. So yeah, there you go. Hi mate, hope you know that in your opinion you are the best FPL YouTuber. You're helpful, consistent. You deserve more subscribers. Appreciate that, my friend. Appreciate that. I thought, well, I briefly skimmed Reddit and I was like, you asking me who my best FPL YouTuber is. Thank you, man. I really do appreciate that. We are, of course, out here trying most weeks. So, yeah, trying to help you guys out as best as we possibly can. But if you are going to ask me my favorite YouTuber, it probably would be, I like Tom Golden Goal, who's live right now, is great. I mean, you know, we have a podcast together and stuff, so I kind of have to say Tom. But I also like, you know, I've got really into podcasts this year, so The Wire above average as well. Also very, very good content as well for those that drive and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't mind it. Should I captain Gabriel? I think there are probably better captaincy options this week, in my opinion. Bruno, Haaland, all better captaincy options in my personal opinion, going for Gabriel this week. Dallo or Anderson? I would be tempted probably with Dallo, I reckon, on that one. Pickford worth it. He's fine. Like, he does the job, doesn't he? But would I waste the transfer on bringing him in? Probably not. I don't think the Everton fixtures are 100% amazing over the next few weeks. But if we get fortunate and we get a double game week, then, you know, the Pickford move looks like 4D chess from me from a couple of weeks ago, really, doesn't it? It really does. Should I put Alderente for any of these three defenders you have? I would definitely start Alderente ahead of Chow if I had him. But yeah, there we go. It feels so good seeing people pick against Haaland. I know, yeah. Also, is Morgan Rogers good long term? There's some great fixtures coming up for Villa. Really, really decent fixtures. So yeah, he's not a bad long term option. The only problem I have with Rogers, and my model disagrees with me on this one, is he doesn't have DEFCON, doesn't have penalty share, has a little bit of free kick share, but no corners, nothing like that. And I think Douglas Luiz being back as well will probably mean even less for him. So we're paying 7.7 million for a guy that you're solely relying on one metric for him to get points. But if he keeps smashing the metrics out, then we'll have to wait and see, won't we? The coin flip told us to go with Bruno Fernandes. Yeah, it told us to go with Bruno Fernandes. There you go. Thoughts on Emi Buendia? Yeah, he could open himself up with all these injuries that, of course, Aston Villa are getting at the moment. Could open himself up as a nice alternative option if you do fancy it as well. So, yeah, could be decent. There you go. Jamie said it. He puts points up every single week. This is why I'm really, really liking the model at the moment, because it's just giving me a different perspective. Obviously, I've had my views on, you know, penalty takers, players with multiple routes to points is the way that I'm obviously looking to play the game. And yeah, you know, this model looks just more at the points per game, kind of ignoring that. And it's showing, you know, that Rodgers is still a very, very fine and good pick. So, yeah. Should I hold or sell Semenyo to Rodgers or Mbeumo or anyone else? Have Bruno, Rice, Enzo, and Gardner. I personally would leave him for this week. I think he's a perfectly fine player to have for this game week. So, yeah, I personally would leave it, roll the transfer. Then you can see, because this is the thing, right? I think people want to see what's happening with Mbeumo. That's the thing for me, is people want to probably see what is going to happen with Mbeumo. Is he going to play the number 9 again? If he is, then great. Again, where's his minutes going to be at? If his minutes are going to be a little bit dicey, then maybe it's not worth going for him, because if he's coming off around the 70th minute every week, or, you know, not seeing out full 90s, then that really does make it difficult. It does make it very difficult, doesn't it? So, yeah. Hi, Tom. Great stream. Would you bench Gahey or Thiago? I would be tempted to probably bench... Oh, that's a toughie. I probably would be tempted to bench Gahey. He's just not going to hit DEFCON, I don't think. I never really like benching to penalty takers, but if City keep a clean sheet, which they very easily could, then he could very easily outscore Thiago this week. That is a toughie. That is a toughie. Start Pedro, Krupi, or Munoz. I think you probably have to go either Munoz or João Pedro, right? So I guess you may be waiting for a leak if we get anything. But I think with João Pedro being at 50% to start across all the projections for this week, yeah, it don't look good, does it? Start 2 from Bowen, Krupi, Wilson, Wilson, Bowen. Yeah. Hey, look, if he's been doing bits for you, man, then it's working, isn't it? It is working if he keeps doing bits for people. That's all you need from your player, isn't it, really? Hi, mate. My friend and I can't decide Chow or Munoz. Munoz. Start 2 from, we did that one. Is Wilson to Enzo worth a -4? Not in my personal opinion, no. I don't think there's enough to really warrant that one. Should I put Enzo Fernandes in for Gravenberch? 100%. Yeah, if I had Gravenberch, I think that's a very easy call on that one. Shall I captain João Pedro over Haaland or Bruno? Is West Ham at home and he made an assist goal last Sunday against Palace? I personally wouldn't, just again, down to those projections. Let me find the account that tweeted those out because they're a really good account to follow. Of course, make sure you are dropping me a follow over on X or Twitter as well. I'm always tweeting over on there. Jump the Wave. This is the account. Jump the Wave. So this is where you can see the projections, like all of them combined. So they'll have loads of predictors put their tools in. And then obviously they'll give out their projections. So this is the Chelsea one. Yeah, this is the Chelsea one. You guys see that? Yeah, you can see that perfectly. There we go. So this is the Chelsea one for this week. So like Sanchez at 100%, Gusto at 50%, Chalobah at 100%, Reece James at 25%. You know, this is the kind of thing. Caicedo at 100%, Enzo at 100%. And then you've got obviously Palmer at 83, João Pedro at 50, Delap at 50. So I think it is genuinely like a 50-50% that is probably going to be a split between them. I was a little bit shocked when I saw Enzo at 100% as well. I did obviously think to myself, is he going to be at 100%? Like, I really did think that. I was like, I don't think he is going to be at 100%. Let's have a look through some other ones as well that they've got. People are a little bit unsure. Villa, people have asked me about Watkins. Again, this is why I said I wouldn't be convinced on either buying him or selling him. He's at 67%, Abraham at 33%. So yeah, a little bit like that. Emi Buendia, someone asked me about 100% on the predictions here. Rogers as well, also at 100%. So looks pretty decent for those pair. Cash as well at 100% in all predicted lineups as well. So if you are, someone asked me about Cash earlier. Liverpool for this week, Sobo at 100%, so looks pretty decent for a keep for him. Salah at 100%, Wirtz at 100%, and Ekatike at 100% as well. So yeah, looking pretty decent for him in terms of his projection. Again, this is one of the main reasons that I've decided to keep Ekatike and Sobo for this week, both at 100% in all of the lineups here. So I'm feeling pretty confident that he starts the game, and you never know. Like I said, the free transfers will probably get us in a better position. Foden at 63 if you've still got him. Cherky at 88% across all the projections as well. Only missing out on one of the City projections, but even still, probably I still just don't back him at all, really. I really don't. Gahey in 100% as well. Yeah, there you go. Anybody that's still got Nico Riley, he's all the way down at 75%, missing out on two of the predictions here as well. So yeah, that account is what's it called? Jump the Wave. Yeah, Jump the Wave. So make sure you go and give them a follow. Some cracking work over there. I think we've had a team in for review. We have indeed. Like I said, guys, if you do want to get your team reviewed by me, the best place to come and check that out is in the FPL Cartel. There you go. And Abby's just joined. She says, good morning, everyone. One of our channel moderators and, of course, one of the members of the FPL Cartel as well. Janice has sent their team in. They have said, hi, want to go with Cherky and Sobo to Bruno and Enzo, Vanderberg to Senesi, Ekatike to Evan Nielsen or Thiago. I have 2 free transfers, 2.1 million in the bank. Who should I transfer first? I think because we've just seen Ekatike should be playing, I think that's fine. I think the bigger issue for me would be the Cherky one. And I don't really like... I think like your defense is fine for this week, so I think you could very easily get away with it. I think I probably would be tempted to do the Cherky one. I think I will probably do the Cherky and the Sobo one. If you can afford both of those to get Bruno and Enzo in, I think that really upgrades your team a lot. So yeah, Sobo and Cherky, if you can afford to get Bruno and who else was it? Oh, my mind's running blank. But yeah, that's the moves that I would personally be doing first. So Cherky and Sobo out, Bruno and yeah, stuff like that. There you go. Boom. Done. Dunzo. That's the moves I would do. Right. Let's have a look. Yeah, João Pedro, like we said, we just ran through the jump the wave predictions, and they were at 50% for João Pedro. Like he's in 50% of the predictions. So yeah, not great. Can't afford that. 1 mil short. Ooh, okay. That's a little bit annoying, isn't it? I guess maybe you'd have to do Ekatike down then, which might be worth doing the following week. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a great point as well, isn't it, Abby? Like you're probably only going to be at 1. I'm still a little bit uncertain about him, but I think he might survive this week. He might survive this week. Yeah, I don't know what I'm saying. He is going to survive this week. I'm not making any moves. I'm not taking him out this week. So yeah. Can I do James to Chalobah? Yeah, why not? Like if James is at a low prediction, like I think Chalobah as well is one of those players that is just absolutely cracking at points per game as well. So yeah, I really do like the move there. It might feel a little bit sideways, but I think for the comfortability of a player you know is going to feature most weeks, I think it puts you in a really decent position. So yeah, I don't mind that one. Yeah, I like that. Start Tarkowski or Cash. I would be tempted maybe to go with Tarkowski. Yeah, I think I probably would go with Tarkowski this week. DQ questions coming in, guys. Anything you want to know ahead of the deadline, do let me know. Obviously, I'm here, the coin's here, the model's here, the cartel's here, everything is here. So yeah, we're all good. What midfielder do we buy when we have loads of money? I think obviously if depending on the double, like Saka and Palmer, they make themselves, viable options if they get a double game week. Salah, like my model is absolutely loving Salah. Top for this week. So if he can start putting in some decent performances and getting back to the goals, maybe we might have a conversation about Haaland and Salah, especially if Haaland continues to keep blanking. Like it genuinely might be a real conversation that we have to have at some point. So yeah. Jamal's just sent me his team over on the Discord, so let's go and check that out. Thank you guys, like I said, for everybody sending over their teams. This is the place to come and do it. It is in the FPL Cartel Discord, which is in the pinned comment. So if you want to get your team rated by me, head over to there. Not in the bank, 1 free transfer. Would you roll this team, Tom, or listen out for O'Reilly and Ekatike to see if they're starting? I think Ekatike will start. O'Reilly was at 75% on that projection, so I probably would still probably go with it. And I think you could roll that team. Like you really, really could roll that team. And if you're really unsure about O'Reilly, then just chuck Anderson in. Like at least you know he's going to start. Probably hits DEFCON, comes away with a 3 or a 4 pointer at least, like as a minimum. So yeah, like I think it's an easy roll for me personally. Yeah, I think that's an easy roll. What do I think about Ahmad? I mean, he's played pretty much close back-to-back 90 minutes. Again, the model is absolutely loving him. And when I say the model, I mean my own model that I've built is absolutely loving him for some reason. So maybe he might be the one. Maybe he might be the one that really pops off this week. Best midfielder for 6.3, asking for my son. Again, we've just spoke about Ahmad. Might be a nice cheeky differential. I think otherwise you are probably looking at maybe an Ndai. DEFCON penalties, not a bad option. Maybe a double coming up for Everton. He could be an all right option to potentially look at as well. Who else have you got kind of? Then I think you're just heading into your typical budget ones that we've seen, really, aren't you? Your Elliot Andersons, those sort of guys are probably going to be them where you're starting to lean towards. Elliot Andersons, the Stacks of the world, that is then probably where you're going to start to look at in terms of predictions. Wilson to Enzo, what do you think? Yeah, I don't mind that. Can I bench Hill versus Wolves if you want to? But I think it's a pretty decent fixture, isn't it? Would you start VVD or Senesi? I would probably go with Senesi this week. Yeah, I probably would go with Senesi. If you're enjoying the stream, guys, make sure you're hitting that like button. We are closing in on 150 likes. There we go. Yeah, true. I was actually at that game. Wasn't I? Yeah, I was. I was at the game where he got his hat trick and a half. Weird game, very weird game. Captaincy this week, don't own Bruno, Haaland, Enzo, or Ballard. I think for me it is just Haaland. If you don't own Bruno, go with Haaland. Simple. Senesi or Richards as a Keane replacement. I mean, I like Richards, and I think Senesi's all right. I think the only problem going against Senesi is, again, his contract is up, and there are rumours that, there are some Italian clubs looking at him. So, again, maybe Bournemouth cash in on him while they still can before he leaves on a free in the summer. So, we might lose Senesi. The fixtures are there. His DEFCON is there. But he is one of those players, and Bournemouth, especially away from home, are very, very leaky. The most leaky defence in the league. So, yeah, they really concede a lot of goals away from home. So I would be more tempted with Richards, but I can see the appeal if you want to go for Senesi as well. Mane or Krupi? I would still probably edge a little bit more towards Krupi than Mane. Like, you might get the double, yes, great. But then you've also got another player that will blank in 31. So in essence, you aren't actually gaining an extra fixture out of them. And I feel like having that just cheap player on the bench that can come in and play in game week 31 is probably going to be more important than having a guy that will get 4 points. Maybe he gets 1 goal in the double game week. That's how I see it anyway. Start Walter or Thiago. I think you go Thiago every day of the week there. I mean, if you've still got Walter, probably a sell. Like, realistically, he is just a sell, isn't he? Start Alderente or Munoz. I would probably go with Munoz, yeah. I don't mind Maguire as a potential transfer. Yeah, I don't mind that. Hi, mate. Should I start Van de Ven against City or Calvert-Lewin against Arsenal? I mean, penalties. Arsenal are looking a little bit ropey at the moment as well. Like, I would be tempted maybe with Calvert-Lewin, Yeah, I'd go Calvert-Lewin. Hill for Bournemouth looks like a steal if he plays the next couple of weeks till the wild card. Yeah, at 3.9, is he it? Yeah, it doesn't look a bad option at all, does he? Start 2, Timber, Nunez, Bowen, João Pedro. I feel like you have to start João Pedro because of the fixture. So he goes in, and then it probably is going to be Timber, who will be the other one that you do just chuck in there for me personally. But I mean, if you're a little bit unsure about João Pedro's minutes, then that could also be a bit of a ring stinger. But at the same time, off the bench, he could still be a pretty decent option. Are you definitely captaining Bruno? Yes. Yep, we are there. Yeah, I know. The last time he played against Fulham, the missed penalty, just hot. Like, Bruno at the start of the season, just point stodging everywhere, wasn't he? He was literally just point stodging everywhere. So, yeah. Yeah, Van de Ven is a doubt as well. Good point out there, Abby. Yeah, he is a doubt for the game. Best Foden plus Dorgu replacement, 13.2 million in the bank. Could you do Mbeumo and maybe like Richards? I don't hate that. Mbeumo and Richards could be a pretty decent option to maybe look at. You could also go for like an Enzo and a Chalobah. I think you should have enough to do that. If my maths is correct in the top of my head. I think it is. Who's your longest serving player this season? Dubravka, I think, has been in since match day 1. Yeah. Evan Nielsen has been Evan Nielsen, sorry, I was reading the next question. Yeah, Dubravka's been in since game week 1. What do you think about Palmer captain? Not for me personally. I just think there's too much like risk with that one. Is Evan Nielsen on pens? We don't know. It could be Krupi. It could be Evan Nielsen. I would probably say it's more likely to be Evan Nielsen, but again, we still don't know. Start James or Dalot. I think with James only being in 25% of the projection lineups, I probably would say I would be a little bit more tempted to go with Dalot, but of course it is a great fixture for Reece James this week, but with uncertainty around whether or not he's going to start, does maybe put him on the back burner a little bit. Slot 2, Timber, Chow, Calvert-Lewin. I probably would actually go Timber and Calvert-Lewin. Penalties, Arsenal have looked a little bit ropey in recent weeks, so you never know. Leeds at home as well. There's always something in the air at Ellen Road. Start Watkins or Harry Wilson. I think I would be tempted to maybe give Watkins the run out in case he does play. Hi, mate. Why should we start Szoboszlai? He's all right. Like, I think that's the best I can really say out of Szoboszlai. I got lucky a little bit last week. The week before, he was the biggest underperformer on XG. This week, he was the biggest overperformer on XG. But he does still have some set piece share. He could be playing at right back, which, you know, might sound like a bad thing, but probably means that he comes away with DEFCON very easily. So you could be looking at yourself just, you know, a steady 4 or 5 pointer there from Szoboszlai, which I don't hate this week. You know what I mean? I don't hate that if that's what he can put up this week. Tarkowski to Munoz. I would probably wait on that move just purely in case Everton get the double in game week 26. That would then be a player that I would want to keep, to be honest. Start Thiago or Elliot Anderson. I never like benching penalty takers, so I probably would still lean more towards Thiago. However, Elliot Anderson, again, is a very steady Eddie and probably will just come away with a 4-pointer. So, you know, the floor is there for him if you really want to go for it. Hi, Tom. To afford Gabriel, is it viable to go for Justin in place of Keane following... yeah, I don't mind that. I don't mind that. Or Hill. Hill from Bournemouth could also be another one you want to maybe take a look at. Thoughts on Darlow over the Bravka on the wildcard, saves 0.1 million, and the other goalkeeper is Raya. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. The only problem I would have is he guaranteed Leeds his first choice number 1? I know he's come in recent weeks and been the first choice number 1, but I think there's no, you know, no kind of unsettling of the Bravka where Darlow, maybe a few mistakes, and maybe they do put the other Perrin or whatever his name back into the side would be the thing. They should be fine. They're back at home. The only unbeaten side at home in the Premier League. I can't believe we're saying that. Closing in on it's February tomorrow, and we're saying that Sunderland, the only unbeaten team at home in the Premier League. Wild stuff. Absolutely wild stuff. Could United go against all the odds and win the title? I mean, that would be hilarious. It would genuinely be hilarious if they managed to do that. I can't see it happening, but I mean, they've got no fixture congestion. It is the sole competition they can focus on. So, yeah. But I mean, it's probably more United fans just getting ahead of themselves. Thoughts on Timber captain? Probably not for me. I think there are probably better players to maybe look at this week. What do you think? Does João Pedro start? Again, I think it's probably very similar to Jump the Waves projections of around 50-50. Like, he could start. He might not. He very easily might not. Like, it's one of those, isn't it? It is hard to call this week. Hi, Tom. Is it okay? I'm starting Elliot Anderson over Timber because I think Leeds will score. If that's how you feel and that's what you think is going to happen, then I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Chow, Rice, or Timber or Rogers? Ooh. I like the Timber and Rogers one. Yeah, I do like the Timber and Rogers one. I think that's better. Like, I like Rice, but I don't like Chow with him. No. Is Bowen a keep or a sell? I think he's a keep. I think he's a fine keep. Like, there's still some pretty okay fixtures coming up over the next few weeks for West Ham. Still one of the top players in the projections as well. So, yeah, I don't hate it. Morning, Tom. I was thinking of taking out Devaney for Enzo and taking out Ekatike for Krupi for a -4. I was also thinking of a wildcard this week or next week. Cheers. I don't know if it's necessarily worth the -4 in my opinion. I think maybe you could just wait because I'm guessing Devaney's sat on your bench anyway. Ekatike is going to be in there. Like, I don't think Krupi and Enzo maybe claw back that -4 that you're going to take there. So personally, probably not for me. And I think only if you're going to wild card. Look, I think the wild card for me is just a no-go, just because I think the strategy that is set up later for attacking the doubles and the blanks just works so much easier and so much better than, of course, going the other way around. So yeah, there we go. I mean, the problem with the Villa defenders is none of them hit DEFCON. So yeah, like none of them are really appealing. He's in 50% of the projections as he's not in the other 50. So yeah. Obviously played a decent amount of minutes midweek as well. Big midweek clash coming up for Chelsea. They might just chuck the lap up top and hope that he can do the business against West Ham. I'm honestly in the same boat as you. Do I play Chow or do I play Anderson? It's yeah. It's difficult to say, isn't it, really? It is honestly a 50-50 split. Like, it's really, really close. Yeah. I'm also in the same debate of, do I maybe just flip a coin and whoever it lands on, that's who we decide to play this week? Like, my model has Chow slightly ahead of Anderson, but only slightly ahead. Like, there's very little in it. Do I think Haaland starts? Yes. Start Mook or Thiago? I probably would go Mook this week, you know. I'd never like I said, benching penalty takers, but I still probably would go for it. Triple captain on the double game week. Yeah, 33, 26, or 36 are probably going to be the weeks where you maybe want to look to do that. We only need one subscriber to hit 25.9. So if you're enjoying this stream and you haven't already, make sure you are hitting that subscribe button. Make sure you're hitting the like button as well. We're ridiculously close to 150 likes on today's stream. Been absolutely insane numbers that we've had in here today. So thank you very much for, of course, your continued support on the channel. It really, really is appreciated, guys. Thank you very much. I think you probably go Van der Ven on that one, right? But, I mean, if I've got a transfer, I maybe would be tempted to take him out. Do you think triple captain Gabriel in 26 is a good option? Yeah, I don't mind it. He's one of the best players in the league for points per game. Interestingly, last week before, obviously, everything kicked off, he was the same predicted points as Erling Haaland. Now, Haaland is slightly ahead of him in terms of points per game, but yeah, there we go. Please don't spam. We will get around to your questions. There's no need to spam. And there we go. He's had enough. He's getting out of here. He's getting ejected. Do. There we go. He's gone. Hey, Gavin. Hope you're doing well. If I already wildcarded, do I try rolling my transfers often? Yes. Yeah. Hi, Tom. Enzo or Bruno Fernandes as captain? I personally would go for Bruno Fernandes for me personally. Yeah. Yeah, just spammed. Like, there's no need to spam. Like, everybody's like politely putting their questions in. Like, if I don't get round to it, put it back in, but don't just repeatedly spam it. Like, you know, I'm trying to help as many of you guys out as possible. There's no need to spam. So yeah, there we go. Yeah, there's a lot of players there that could be a little bit dicey, couldn't they? Could be a little bit dicey. Tom, do I hold Cunha now? Yes, I probably would. And no, we've had this trend for a few weeks. We've got like the mullet perm going off. So yeah, there we go. Salah and Enzo or Salah and Palmer. Oh, I probably would be more tempted with the Salah and Enzo one. Can't decide between Wilson and Calvert-Lewin. I probably would edge more towards Wilson. When I use him my wildcard, game week 32. I have it ahead on Bruno at the moment. My own model that I've built has him higher in terms of projections for this week, only slightly. And you will see that probably across the board as well. He is slightly ahead on most models. compared to Erling Haaland. Also, as well, in terms of the Fulham conceding the most goal involvements from Cam/10s in the league, of course, whereas Bruno Fernandes playing right now, it is there. United obviously in good form. Bruno obviously in quite good form as well to go with that. Pen share, penalties, set pieces, DEFCON, baseline bonus, all of that is going towards Bruno Fernandes. So that's why I've selected him as my captain. Haaland, on the other hand, 1 goal in his last 6 Premier League games. It's just underwhelming, isn't it? It is underwhelming. And there was a few chances in midweek where he just snatched at the opportunities. And I was just like, is he quite there? Is he quite there? It's one of those. Ekitike's got to change his hair colour every time he fails to deliver an attacking return. So, yeah, that's the rule that I think they've probably got going for him. If he doesn't get an attacking return, he has to change his hair colour again. Simple as that. Simple as that. That's the rule. I don't think that is the rule. I'm just making that up. But it would be a good rule, wouldn't it? It would be a good rule. We have now hit 25.9. So thank you very, very much. Let's see if we can get to 26. See if we can get to 26 today. That would be great. It would be great if we could. Start Dewsbury Hall or Tark. I would probably be a little bit more tempted with Dewsbury Hall. Only a 19% probability of a clean sheet for Everton this week. Enzo or Rogers? Ooh, Enzo for me. Tark or O'Reilly? I think if you want the certainty of a start, you go Tark. Higher probability of a clean sheet, you go O'Reilly, but I think I would probably play it a little bit safe and go maybe Tark. Would you do Tarkowski to Chalobah? Not yet. I think if we got like the double game week for Everton, then Tarkowski's a completely fine player to have for that. But at the same time, you'd also then get the Chalobah double from that and better fixtures for the next few. So, yeah, I don't mind the move, but I don't know. It does feel quite a luxury move to maybe be making. Van de Ven and Porro fit. I will have a quick look for you, my friend. Let me have a quick look what's been said in terms of the predictions for this week. Yeah, let me have a look. Let me have a look. Why is it not coming up? There it is, Fantasy Football Scout. I'd be more tempted to play Cunha ahead of Gardner this week. Right, where's Tottenham? Spurs. Mickey van der Ven is touch and go for the visit. Porro is out. So yeah, there you go. So Mickey van der Ven, touch and go, probably might miss out. And Porro is, not looking good. Have I been lucky enough earning Porro's points? No, I haven't. He's been on my bench every week. I think you probably play Donnarumma there. Yeah. Start Senesi or Tark. I probably go Senesi. I need to have a look on my thing. Who's actually coming out ahead this week? Is it Pickford or is it Dubravka? Dubravka's at 3.7. Where's Pickford at in terms of his points? The higher? Where are you at? I think he will be higher. Yeah, 4.4. We're sticking with Pickford. Do keep your questions coming in, guys. Anything you want to know ahead of the deadline, do let me know. We'll try and answer as many questions as we can. If you want your team rated by me, of course, we do those over in the FPL Cartel Discord. That is also where you can find the my model as well that I'm also talking about a lot. Am I making any moves? I am not making any moves. I think we are going to roll this week, take 3 into next week, see how the land lies, see what the double game weeks are, and then go from there. Is Anderson a start over Tark? Then do you mean Elliott or do you mean Joachim? Let me know. Tark to Chalobah or roll? I do like the move. I really do like the move, but I think you could easily roll as well. It is quite a luxury move. Rice or Rodgers, last question. I mean, if Arsenal are going to get a double game week, I'd rather have Rice, but if they don't, again, it's all kind of like we've got to wait till next week to find out if they are. But given the fact that they are in the better and stronger position, I probably would maybe go with Rice. Cunha to Bruno this game week or Nkape to Gabriel, which one would you prioritize? I think I probably would prioritize the Gabriel one. Yeah, for me personally. Elliot Anderson. There we go. Thank you. I always forget they've got an O and an E in their names. That's the difference between the two of them. Would I start him ahead of Tarkowski? Ooh, no. I'm going to go with no. We just had a team sent in for review. So let's go and take a look at that. Of course, like I said, guys, if you do want your team reviewed by me, then the best place to come and do that is in the Discord. And I will put the link in for the Discord right now. So you guys can come and check it out for yourself. Olay says, hi, Tom. Got a couple of things I'm unsure about. I'm tempted to start Mane as a good differential against Bournemouth defence, and he's arguably been their most dangerous attacker from Wolves in the previous week. I used my 1 free transfer to replace Minter with Bruno, so I'm stuck with Foden for another week. Luckily, Foden was benched in the UCL. Should I start him over Thiago, or should I not risk it and bench Mane? Also wanted to ask, what do you think of the best differential captain to go against Haaland and Bruno? I think personally, if you either go Haaland or Bruno with this team, I think in terms of differential captains, as crazy as it might sound, Trevor Chalobah or Semenyo would probably be the other ones. Foden, I think on the projections was at like 67, like in 67% of the predicted lineups. So, should start. And I get your point around obviously the benching in UCL probably should start. But again, like, it's one of those, isn't it, really, where he might be benched again. He really, really might be benched again. Mane, look, I think is a decent option. Like you said, the Bournemouth defence is quite leaky, especially away from home as well. So, I don't hate that as a thing. I guess it is probably, do you start Foden or do you start Thiago? I think for me, I never like benching a penalty taker, so probably would go with Thiago ahead of Foden. But it is tight. It is very, very tight. Because it's not a great fixture, not ideal for Brentford this week, and they're not a great travelling side, but at least I can guarantee Thiago's going to play. I can't say the same for Foden. So it's a kind of a case of, do you risk the minutes or do you play the guaranteed player that has penalties? I think you pick the guaranteed player that has penalties, so I probably would go with that one. Yeah. That's where I would sit on that one. Like I said, guys, if you do want your team rating by me, the place to come and get that done is over in the FPL Cartel. It is the pinned comment for this week. Let's do some more poll stuff. So let's end this poll. So 58% of you are going with Bruno Fernandes as the captain as well. Let's have a look what we could do next. Let's do you think Palmer starts game week 24? There we go. Let me know in the chat. There is a new poll up. Do you think Cole Palmer starts game week 24? I'm interested to see where people are at in terms of this one. So get your votes in for that one. We'll get that running for about 10 minutes and then we'll close it a little bit later. I'm just going to have a quick drink of water. Who's on Wolves pens? Good question. Probably Strand Larson. If he's not, if he's in the lineup. Hwang as well, took the last one. So yeah, there you go. Who to sell for Bruno, Gordon, or Cherky? Is that Bruno G? Or is it who to sell for Bruno? Oh, Cherky for me. Yeah, I think Cherky. Yeah. I probably wouldn't go for it. Looking likely that a lot of you do think early doors that Palmer will start this game week, 74%, but do keep the votes coming in. I'd be interested to see. Is Mbeumo in for Saka a good move? Personally, not for me. Like, if Arsenal get that double game week, then you want Saka still, so I wouldn't be making the move this week if I was going to do it. Any chance that Mane might be on pens? Maybe. I don't know if he's ever taken one, but yeah, if he is, then that does make him a very interesting option. But I think if Strand Larson is on the pitch at any point, he will probably take it. If Hwang's on the pitch, he will probably take it. I would personally rather wait and see than going on those Bournemouth punty guys. I think there's more important moves to probably be making this week than punting on somebody that I'm not 100% convinced on right now. Ekatike to Thiago. Again, I really don't see the upside in that move. Thiago's not got the best fixtures over the next few weeks. Ekatike, I think, will start today. So, yeah, I don't think it's like the best move you could possibly make. Who is my favorite footballer? I've got a Todd Cantwell shirt at the back purely from EFL Fantasy. So, yeah, I probably would say it's just going to be somebody weird like that, isn't it? It's probably going to be like Todd Cantwell or Michael Cheek, like these just EFL legends from playing EFL Fantasy from the past 2 seasons. They're probably where my mind is at. Bench Bowen or Alderente. Could Bowen still do some damage against a Chelsea wobbly backline? I think he will have chances. I do think he will have chances. But I think given the fixture that Sunderland have got this week, I'd be more tempted to play my Sunderland defenders ahead of Bowen. That's just my personal take on that one anyway. Timber or Cash? I think I'd still probably go Timber. Start Mateus Nunes or Cash? I think I'd probably go Mateus Nunes this week. Start one, so Munoz, Wilson, Gahey, probably Munoz. Bring in Chalobah for DJ or bring in a Palace defender. I like the Chalobah move. I like the Chalobah move. They might get that double as well, so could be a decent move to potentially go for. Yeah, that's probably where my head would be at with that one. Dirty cash, apologies. Dirty cash, I need you. Whoa. Money talks. Money talks. Anderson or Tarkowski. I probably would go Tarkowski this week. Van Heck or Tarkowski. I'd probably go Van Heck. Better clean sheet probabilities for them this week. So that's how I'd line up for that one. I have that single. Oh, nice. Nice. I think Cunha would probably go straight in now that Dorgu has been injured. So yeah, I think Cunha is a fine player to hold for this week. See how it goes, and then obviously make your mind up after that one. Will Gakpo start? I'd probably say more on the side of no than yes. O'Brien or Wilson? I'd probably go Wilson. Hi, Tom. I'm looking to move Szoboszlai to either Enzo or Mbeumo. What do you recommend? I would be more tempted to maybe go with Enzo ahead of him. We've just seen too many early substitutions for Mbeumo, and if that does continue, that's not someone I would really want longer term. Chelsea could actually double as well, so maybe getting ahead of the curve and getting the doubler in would probably be the move I would go for. Is Keane still a good pick? Nope. Branthwaite is back, which for me probably rules out Keane as an option. Alderente or O'Reilly, I probably would go Alderente. I wouldn't probably cap Enzo. If Palmer's going to play, it means less penalty share for, of course, Enzo Fernandes this week, so probably not for me personally. Colin's got the right idea. Let's get the stream up to 200 likes. It would be greatly appreciated if, of course, we could do that. Looking at the Palmer poll, a lot of you do believe he is going to start this week as well, so looking decent. Cunha over Semenyo, not for me personally, no. Thoughts on benching Gabriel? Am I crazy? Yeah, I think so. I wouldn't be benching Gabriel. Is Reece James a shout over Chalobah? There's only a 25. He's in 25% of the predicted lineups for this game week. So I would probably say there's a good chance he might actually miss out. So yeah, I don't think I would personally go for it. Wirtz or Harry Wilson? I probably would play Wirtz. How would you start two? Bruno G, Calvert-Lewin, O'Reilly, Tark. I probably would go O'Reilly and Bruno G, João Pedro or Evan Nielsen. I think with João Pedro, only a 50-50 chance of starting this week, I would be a little bit more tempted to go maybe Evan Nielsen just for security. But if João Pedro does start and does well, then, you could be onto something. Pretty stuck at the moment, man. Can't really buy Bruno this week. I'm not sure whether to sell Cunha or Ndai. Plan to assess Cunha's mins tomorrow and see if Ndai doubles in 25. That makes the most sense. It could just be a bit of a painful watch for you though on Sunday. If of course Bruno starts slamming in the points. With Frimpong out, do you think Sobo goes right back? I think he probably could. It could happen. It could happen. But I don't mind that for my team. Like, if Sobo hits DEFCON, like, I'm more than happy with that. Like, if he comes away with a 5-pointer, that will do me. I would not mind a 5-pointer from Sobo this week. Yeah. Harry Wilson or Thiago. I never really like benching penalty takers, so I probably would go with Thiago. We looked at their projections earlier on my own model, and we did see that they were neck and neck. Hi, mate. Should I sell Bruno G as soon as I get the chance? If it's allowing you to bring in like a Bruno or maybe one of the doublers when we find out which teams are going to be doubling in 26, then yeah, I'm all for that. Bench Gahey or Thiago or Ekatike. Oh, I think you probably bench Thiago out of all of those ones there, but it's so tight, isn't it? Wilson or O'Reilly. I would probably maybe go. Oh, it's tough. It's tough. I think I'd probably go Wilson. Team reviews are done over in the Discord now. So if you do want your team rated by me, we are doing them in the Discord. So get your teams sent in there. There you go. Like I said, I think you wait and see. Like, you get the information around the doubles, you get the information on Cunha's minutes, then you kind of go from there, don't you? No, we stream every deadline stream, which is obviously usually a Saturday. Those are the days that we usually stream. So yeah, there you go. Will Bruno G start? I believe it was kind of, again, very similar to Van de Ven, a bit touch and go was kind of the kind of ish comments we got from Howe on that one. DCL or Wilson? I never like benching a penalty taker, but I probably would lean a little bit more towards Wilson this week. Who do you bench between Gahey, Tarkowski, Wilson, or Ekatike? I would probably be tempted to either bench Wilson or Tark for this week. Yeah. Who should I buy Gordon for? Enzo, Bruno Fernandes, and Buemo. Probably some of the top picks for this week. Ndai or Semenyo, who to start? I'd go Semenyo. Thiago or Calvert-Lewin, I probably would go Thiago. Buy Chalobah or Tarkowski, probably buy Chalobah. Bench 2 of Timber, O'Reilly, Thiago, Wilson, Krupi. I probably would actually bench Krupi in there. I know he's got a good fixture this week, but I'd still probably bench him. Next then would probably be between Thiago and Wilson. I guess it's kind of your preference on, do you like benching penalty takers or not, is kind of where the head would be at with that one. If it is Chelsea versus Everton double, who do you think you will captain? I mean, if I've got if I take out Saka for Palmer, maybe Palmer enters it, but the minutes would be a bit dicey. Enzo probably would also be a good shout. I don't even mind Trevor Chalobah potentially as a captaincy option for that week. I really don't. We are ridiculously close, by the way, guys, to hitting 200 likes on today's stream. So if you are enjoying it, make sure you are hitting that like button. It really does help, obviously, push the stream out to more people, and obviously gets more people in here, which is the ultimate game, isn't it? That's all we want. We want as many people in here as we possibly can, and of course, we want to try and hit 26k subscribers today. So if you aren't already a subscriber, make sure you are hitting that subscribe button. It was good. It was good, Dublin, man. Rolling Donut is my favorite place ever. The donut videos are great. No worries, mate. Anytime. Any questions you've got, do let me know, and we'll try and help you out as best as we can. Obviously, if you want your team reviewed by me, the best place to do that is, of course, taking a look at the FPL cartel. And yeah, we'll get another poll going, I reckon. What we got right now? We've got... Oh, we've done that one. So 69% of you think Palmer starts this week. I rate that. Let's do another one. Let's do João Pedro. Do you think... Oh, help if I typed. Do you think... There we go. Get your votes in for that one. Do you think João Pedro starts this game week? Let me know in the chat. Let me know on the poll as well. No, we don't do Twitter ratings anymore. It was just getting a little bit out of hand, and I was pretty much spending like most of my stream sat on Twitter doing teams. We've put them in the Discord. I can give people better advice, like can take a proper look at their team, and I'm also, you know, I'm active in the chat more, which is what I want to be. Forest just signed Ortega from Manchester City. Wow. Okay, fair. João Pedro, I like that. That's a good one. JP and Palmer will start, but get early subs. I could probably see that. No Haaland on a wildcard. Will I survive? Maybe. I mean, KSI's had it for a few weeks and got away with it. So, yeah, maybe. Start with Foden or Semenyo. I would play Semenyo ahead of Foden this week for me. Thank you very much for over 200 likes on today's stream. You guys are absolutely legends. Hi, Tom. Do I bench Gahey, Chalobah, Timber? I also have Gabriel. I would probably... Oh... I guess then, yeah, maybe you do bench Timber. Maybe you do bench Timber. But I also think I probably would go for a 4-back. Like, it could do really well this week. Salah over Haaland on a wild card. I don't hate it, you know. I really don't hate it. Best Lewis Hall replacement, similar money. Chalobah, potentially, if you've got the money to stretch up to him. I like Munoz as well as a potential option for this week. If Everton get the double, maybe Tarkowski becomes an option. You know, these are kind of the ones. Pickford or Verbergen. I think Verbergen's a little bit higher on the clean sheet numbers, if I'm not mistaken. I think they're a little bit higher on the clean sheet projections for this week. Let's have a look. Yeah. So Brighton at 33%. So you probably go with the Verbergen pick there. There you go. Boom. I'm just going to quickly blow my nose. What's my plan with Dorgu and Devaney? For now, it is just going to be to leave them. Yeah, genuinely, that is the plan. Longer term, though, I think it will be, we will probably drop one of Thiago or Ekitike down. Devaney will come up to a playing player. Dorgu is just going to be sat there until, again, I need him. If Chelsea get the double game week, then I might be tempted to find a route to get Chalobah and Enzo in. So it could be Devaney and Dorgu up to Chalobah and Enzo, and probably like an Ekitike down or something. That's kind of where my head would be at with that one. Could I afford that? Could I actually afford that? Let's have a look. It sounds good in my head. It sounds good in my head. So out, remove. So yeah, this would be if Chelsea got the double. Enzo. And then we've got 3.9. Have we got enough? Oh, yeah, we've got plenty. And then we can just pick up a cheap striker. So that would probably be the plan if Chelsea double. Is we could get Chalobah in, Enzo in. And I actually don't even mind that as just like general moves anyway. Like that's maybe what we might do regardless next week anyway. But like I said, I think this would be the plan if they were to double. And then we can make a decision on whether or not we want to get rid of Saka for... maybe like a, what's it called? A Palmer. But yeah, I can do that as a move, and I don't hate that as a move, you know. I really don't hate that as a move. I don't even hate it as a -4 for this week. Because we could literally just play like Chalobah, Richards, Gabriel as the back three, 5 in midfield of Saka, Rice, Enzo, Sobo, Bruno, Thiago, Haaland and drop Ekitike. I don't mind it as a -4 this week. I really don't. I think I'm going to leave it, though. I think I'm going to leave it, but I don't hate it. So, yeah, there we go. We can easily get rid of those guys just like that. Ekitike in a wild card, probably not for me. Need help? Enzo, captain too crazy? I would probably say so. I think there's, better picks this week. Dubravka or Kelleher? I would go Dubravka this week. With 2 free transfers, is it worth going Tark to Chalobah? Yeah, I probably would say so. Yeah, I probably would do that. Ekitike to Evan Nielsen for a -4 and then get Mbeumo next week. Yeah, I don't think I would probably go with that. Do you think we'll see a trend of Haalandless teams? I think if he continues to disappoint and we see decent minutes for Palmer and decent minutes for Salah and good performances from both, then yeah, we might start to see it. But I think right now we're in a position where we can kind of get away with just having Haaland because everybody else is so affordable to have within the game where we don't really need to do anything right now, if that makes sense. Like, there's no desire or no, like, yes, we need to be making these moves right now. There just isn't, is there? So, yeah, that's kind of how I sit on that one. Ekitike to Pedro. I think with João Pedro being like 50-50 on whether or not he's going to start in the predicted lineups, probably not for me. Neto over Wirtz for a -4. I think I probably wouldn't do that move. Yeah, not for me. Not for me personally. Hi, Tom. Should I sub in DCL for Bruno G? Would I sub in DCL for Bruno G? No, I'd start Bruno G and just have Thingy ready to go. Yeah. Do keep your questions coming in, guys. Anything you want to know ahead of the deadline, do let me know. We'll try and answer as many questions as we possibly can. Where are we at in terms of the poll? Oh, it's tight, this one. So get your votes in for that one. Do you think João Pedro starts in game week 24? 52% of you have gone with yes. 48% of you have gone with no. So extremely tight on the João Pedro front. So yeah, do let me know which way you are leaning with that one. Start Hall, Anderson or Bruno G. I would be probably tempted to either go Anderson or Bruno G on that one. Hopefully the confidence carries over from midweek. If not, then he will be out before the City game, and we could do, like I said, I actually don't mind that move that I've just planned out there if Chelsea do get the double game week. Ekitike down, yeah. I think that could work. I think I've got 2 potential options for a Chelsea double, depending on if I want Palmer or not. If I don't, I think I'd get in Sanchez and then die. If I do, I think it would be Palmer and Barry. Okay, Barry getting some love all of a sudden. I mean, he is probably the purple patch striker right now. Haven't seen him play in real life. He is a bit of a donkey though. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Like, I think most people's teams next week, like, the plan should be to roll, or of course, if you've already taken a good amount of transfers, it's setting then yourself up for the double game week. Other than that, yeah, it probably just is like rolling most weeks, isn't it? Yeah. Play Wilson or Barnes. I probably would play Wilson. Out of Thiago, Chalobah, Guehi, Timber, and Gabriel, who would you bench? Probably Thiago makes the list there. I actually think I probably would go with a back 4 and bench Thiago. I really do. Do keep your questions coming in, guys. Anything you want to know ahead of the deadline? Like I said, we are ridiculously close to hitting 26,000 subscribers. So if you haven't already, make sure you are hitting that subscribe button. I like your wildcard, Tom, but as a differential, I've gone for Mbeumo and Barry as opposed to Bowen and Ndai. Might seem silly, but we'll see. I don't mind that. I don't mind that, mate. Palmer or Pedro? I think I would still prefer to go for Cole Palmer, but I personally wouldn't buy either of them this game week. Should I go O'Reilly to Chalobah for a -4 to bench Thiago this week? No, I don't think that's worth the -4. If I've got Kelleher, I'm probably going to play Dubravka ahead of him this week. Bench 1 out of Thiago, Wirtz, Enzo, Chalobah, and Rice. I think probably Thiago makes the list for the bench there. Semenyo to Mbeumo. I think you could leave Semenyo for this week. I think he's still a fine player to go for. The Bergen, Rodon, Krupi, and Mook worth a bench boost. It's not a bad bench boost, but I still think there'll be better opportunities with double game weeks in future weeks. I prefer option 1 on the wild card there, mate. Yeah. Foden definitely scoring like a hat trick or doing something mental today is probably how it's going to go, isn't it? Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense to me, Abby. I kind of want Chelsea to upset the apple cart a little bit because I feel like so many people are probably going to be a little bit behind the curve on that one, or are going to have to take minuses to bring in like Chelsea and Pickford and Everton assets and stuff like that. Coin flip for Munoz or Chalobah. Yeah, we can do that. Heads is going to be Munoz. Tails is going to be Chalobah. Okay. It is heads. There you go. It's heads. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. Hi, mate. Play Harry Wilson or Harvey Barnes? I would go Harry Wilson. If you had an Aston Villa defender, would you still play Thiago? Or maybe not. Maybe not. Yeah, maybe not is how I'd sit on that one. Do, 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 do. Bah, bah. Coin flip for Chalobah versus Bournemouth, or Bournemouth's Jimenez. Okay. Chalobah heads, tails is Bournemouth. Just twatted the thing in the thing, but it's tails. There you go. The problem with the Wolves game is, yes, you get the double in 26, but then you've also got to navigate a blank in game week 31 with Wolves players. So it's not ideal, really. And like, it's not the best double for them either. So yeah, that's how I kind of see that one. Yeah, I think TC Gabriel could be quite nice, but at the same time, I also do think a Chelsea double could cause quite a lot of chaos. Like, I think everybody probably will own Enzo by next week, or at least most of the engaged managers will have Enzo Fernandes, right? But then you're thinking, well, you know, some have got Palmer, some haven't got Palmer. JP's kind of, you know, in the wilderness. Chalobah, more kind of, you know, established pick. But I do think it would cause a nice bit of chaos. Yeah, I do think it would cause a nice bit of chaos. It could be quite fun. I think you probably play Robbie. Like, this is one of the games where you'd want to play him, right? Yeah, this is probably where you'd want to play him. TC Palmer, Chelsea, TC Gabriel. This is the thing. If Palmer plays both games is the big question, isn't it? What are my transfer plans for this week? It is going to be roll for this week. Roll to free next week. See how the land lies a little bit, because then we'll have the information about the double. So we just did this, and this, if it's the Chelsea double. So Chalobah, Enzo. It's not going to let me, it's not going to move to midfielders, is it? That's also quite annoying on the app. It doesn't just update the position you need. And then we can either go for like a Mane or whatever. We can go for whoever the cheap forward is to go for in this situation. So probably be like Mane or whatever. We've got 0.1. We've got a little bit of wiggle room to, of course, play around with that. So that's fine. We can also, you know, eat up an Enzo price rise, a Chalobah price rise. One of those can go up before we have to make that move. So that's fine. That's if Chelsea double. If Chelsea don't double and it's still Arsenal, then I think the move we could do would still probably be something more like this. I still probably would bring in Enzo just because the fixtures are quite good. I like them. And then I think the other player I probably would look at would maybe be somebody like a Morgan Rogers. There's some pretty decent fixtures coming up for Villa, like Bournemouth away, Brighton, Leeds, Wolves. It's a pretty decent run. Also has a very good fixture in game week 21, which is something that I would like. He's also doing quite a lot of damage to my rank every single week. So yeah, I don't mind that. And then again, we just pick a cheap forward to go for there. So yeah, again, they're kind of where my head is at depending on which side of the double we're going to get. So we'll wait and see. We will wait and see. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Start Alderente or Nunes. I probably would go Alderente this week. Yeah, I think I would go Alderente for the captain this week. Hi Tom, can you ask the coin Mbuemo or Bruno F as captain? Yeah, no problem. Tails is going to be Mbuemo. Heads is going to be Bruno. You ready? Yeah. I didn't even flick it. There we go. It is Tails, which I think was in Bumo. So if you want to go for it, go for it. I personally wouldn't, but I get it if you do. Why don't I have any Chelsea players in? It's a valid question. Like, it is a good fixture this week. I can't afford to do Sobo to Enzo. That would be the move that I wanted to do. So yeah, I'm just gonna take 3 into next week and see how the land lies a little bit. If they're doubling in 26, then I want as many as possible, and we can really attack that with free transfers. Get rid of Dorgu and get rid of Devaney. So I don't mind that. Who do you bench between Gahey, Wilson, Rogers, and Ekatike? Probably either Wilson or Ekatike, and I think it probably would just be about Wilson that ends up on the bench for me personally. Yeah, that's probably where I go with that one. Full midfield for or Thiago. Depends who your full midfield is. Yeah, depends who your full midfield is. Krupa Jr. or Thiago in the starting 11. I still would be tempted to go Thiago, you know. Like, at least I'm going to get, like, decent minutes out of him compared to Krupa. Headache, start Hall or Anderson. I probably would go Anderson. I probably would go Mbuemo out of those, and then I don't really like either of the other options you've selected there, to be honest. -4 for O'Reilly or Hall to Munoz and getting early on the big differential. What do you reckon? I don't think it's worth the -4 in my opinion. Yeah, not for me anyway. Not for me. Buy Haaland. Nice. Should I play Timber and Tarko, Timber and Wilson, or Tarko and Wilson? I know it's a lot. Timber and Wilson probably would be the ones. I would be maybe tempted to play Thiago ahead of Garner, I think, this week. Yeah, I probably would play Timber ahead of Gardner. Not Timber. Thiago, sorry, ahead of Garner. Jamie's got the right idea. Make sure you are hitting that like button. It is massively appreciated. How am I doing in UCL Fantasy? I'm doing decent. Not too bad. I think we're like 5 or 6K in the world. So yeah, not too bad. In a decent position to obviously start enjoying the knockout stages. And yeah, we'll have a video out for that a little bit later, obviously, as we get closer to that deadline. Barry is predicted to go up in price tomorrow. People are getting ready for that double game week. Jesus. Barry on the early hype already. You love to see it. Villa like to forget how to defend. 5 minutes into every game that costs us. We have to change. Thiago or João Pedro? I would prefer to have João Pedro just given the fixtures, but his minutes do concern me, especially this week. I'm a little bit concerned. Semenyo or Ekatike? I'd rather have Semenyo this week. Sell Wirtz to Enzo or Rogers this week for 1 free transfer, or hold, already have Ekatike. Probably Enzo then. Probably Enzo is the one that I'd do there. Thiago or full midfield, Saka Bruno. Yeah, like I said, I probably would go with Thiago on that one. Bench Robbie or Thiago. I think this is 1 week where you'd want to play him, so you bench Thiago. Bruno G or Krupi. I would probably play Bruno G. What do you think of Munoz on a wild card? Yeah, I like it. Is João Pedro in the vote right now? I can't remember who we've got as the poll. I need to probably do a new poll. Yeah, João Pedro is currently the vote for this one, and I'm going to end it there. It's been up for 20 minutes, and we've had 52% of you do think that João Pedro will start this week. So very nice. Very, very nice. Let's get another poll going. Do you think? There we go. We've got another poll going off. Do you think Haaland will blank this game week? Let me know. Anderson from Forest or Tarkowski on the coin? Yeah, we can have a look at the coin. Tails is Anderson. Tarkowski is heads. Okay. Tails. There you go. If you look at the FPL wave predictions, he's at 100%. So yeah, 100% on the FPL wave predictions for this week, which is bit mental, but that's where they're at. 100% for him. Would you start Elliot Anderson or Rice? Rice, easy. Sell Saka to Bruno. I wouldn't sell Saka in case Arsenal get a double game week. That's how I kind of sit on that one. Is I wouldn't want to sell a player just before we're about to get them announced for a double game week. So, yeah. Start O'Reilly or Anderson. I would personally go for O'Reilly. Will Haaland blank is very close in terms of the poll numbers early doors. So get your votes in for that one. 54% of you think he will not blank. 46% of you think he will blank. Ooh. Wilson, Diogo, Munoz, Cash need to start 2, bench 2. I would probably go Munoz. I'd be tempted with Cash, Munoz and Cash. Yeah, go with that. Is Ekatike to Evan Nielsen a good transfer? Kind of feels a little bit mid. I don't really see too much. It kind of feels a little bit sideways. I don't really see the main benefit of it, to be honest. Raya or Roofs? I think you play Roofs this week, right? Choose 2, Rogers, Semenyo, or Rice. I probably would go. Oh, that's a toughie. Surely I would want all 3 starting. I would love to know who's starting. I'm not ranked 8K in the world. I was ranked 8K last year. If you can see the ranking on the thing above me, it's a 24-25. We're currently ranked 90K. So not bad. Not bad. But yeah, the team is in a little bit of a state, but yeah. We'll get there. We'll get there. Think I'm going to give the armband to Haaland, to be honest. Spurs are a bit of a mess right now. It is also valid, isn't it? Yeah, they are a little bit messy at the moment. Start Krupi or Igor. I'd still prefer to go for Igor ahead of Krupi. Gahey or Alderente. I already start Roos, then maybe go Gahey. Your thoughts on Palmer? He's not a sell, he's not a buy. That is kind of where I sit on Palmer right now. I don't play challenge. I have too much going off already to be playing another fantasy game. So, yeah, I'm not going to play challenge. Stop Bowen or DCL. I probably would go Bowen. How's it going, bro? Gusto and Foden to Chalobah and Rogers for a -4 and a -4. I don't think you need to do the -4 bit. I think you could get away with just doing the first bit. Yeah, Haaland is definitely going to score a hat-trick now, isn't he? It's just written, isn't it? Watkins is going to play. It's touch and go on that one. Thoughts on Sobo to Enzo? Yeah, I don't mind that. Should I sell Igor to João Pedro? I think with João Pedro only in 50% of the predicted lineups for this week, I'd be a little bit hesitant on doing that. I'd still start him, though. Like, if I've got him, I'm starting him. But I don't think I'd necessarily buy him this week, is kind of how I would sit on that one. Yeah, this could be one of the weeks where Haaland is at his lowest effective ownership that we're going to see from Haaland for a long time. So it could be a very, very nice week to go with Haaland. It could be a pretty decent week. Wilson or Munoz? I probably would go Munoz. Do keep your questions coming in, guys. Of course, we are ridiculously close to hitting the 26,000 subscriber mark. So if you do enjoy the content, make sure you are hitting that subscribe button. It does mean the absolute world to me. And yeah, keep them coming in. Semenyo to Rogers. I personally would leave Semenyo for another week. Then you can assess properly what Brian's numbers and minutes are going to look like. Yeah, the moment people look elsewhere is usually the weeks where Haaland then starts to cook, isn't it? So, yeah. I'd probably start Mook, bench Wilson, or Virgil van Dijk. Ooh, probably Van Dijk, you know. Palmer captain as a differential? Probably not. Will there be leaks today? You might get something for the Arsenal game. I don't think you're going to get anything for the Chelsea or Liverpool games. Yeah, you might get something maybe potentially. We've got decent City leakers though. That's the problem. The Arsenal leakers not as good. Not as good. So yeah, we might get something maybe. We'll have a look. We will have a look. Which two to start? Elliot, Anderson, Tarkowski, Gahey, or Wilson? I personally would go with Gahey and probably Elliot Anderson. Start Wilson or Kruby? I'd go Wilson. Best Foden replacement, can't afford Bruno F. Then probably maybe Brian and Buemo. Maybe an Enzo Fernandes. Yeah, those are sort of the other alternative players I would be looking at this week. Oh, my neck is buttering. Oh. Yeah, Liverpool, we might get maybe a leak as well. That would be good if we got a Liverpool leak today saying Ekatike was benched, then I could make some moves. But yeah, we'll wait and see. Is Sancho and Kelleher good on the wild card? I guess if you worked out the rotations and they're fine, yeah, but I think you could just... Personally, for me, I like just playing one goalkeeper every single week. I don't like rotating. I don't like mixing about a little bit. Start Wilson, Lacroix, or DCL. Ooh. Probably go the Palace defender. That would probably be the route for me. Yeah, I probably would go the Palace defender. Do keep your questions coming in, guys. Anything you want to know ahead of the deadline? Reliable source tells me Mickey out, Captain Haaland. Not bad. Yeah, apparently Mickey van der Ven is a bit touch and go, so maybe we might get a juicy, decent haul for that. I would love to see Leeds sneak a goal. It could happen. It could happen. I've seen stranger things happen. Pick two out of Ndai, Munoz, Mook. I probably would go with the last two there. Should I sell Timber to Gabriel? Only if you're probably going to captain or maybe triple captain him. That's probably the only reason I would do it. Looking at the poll, 55% of you believe Haaland will not blank this game week. So very nice. Start three out of Chalobah, Gabriel, Mook, or James Hill. I would actually still prefer to go for the first three you've mentioned there and probably bench James Hill. I know he's got a good fixture this week, but I still probably would prefer to go for those ones as well. I'm calling Haaland, I'll be back. Yeah. I could see maybe some people potentially switching up from Bruno and getting a bit cold feet and maybe looking at a Haaland captaincy this week. I haven't checked out what Tom's doing in his stream. Who's he got captain? He's gone Haaland. Okay, big. So we've got Tom on Haaland. We've got me on Bruno this week. It's tasty, that. It is tasty, that. Take me. Please don't spam in the chat. Of course, if we will get round to people's questions. You don't have to spam. We'll just try and get round to as many people as we possibly can. And they continue spamming. You know what to do. Get him out. It's time to go. Yeah, fair. I get it. Will I stay with the Bruno captaincy? I think I will. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to stay with the Bruno captaincy, to be honest. I don't see there being anything that maybe changes my mind unless they said maybe Romero was out. But yeah, I think I'm going to probably stick with it. The problem is the game is right after one another, so you could come into that game like Haaland's just Bruno just blanks, and you're like, oh god, now I've got to sit through and hope that Haaland does nothing. Is very painful. That is the most painful bit we're probably going to have, isn't it? Thoughts on Gahey? I think he's completely fine to keep, to be honest. Yeah, completely fine to keep. I don't see any real reason to of course pull the trigger on him or anything like that. We are ridiculously close to 250 likes on today's stream. So if you haven't already, make sure you are hitting that like button. It is really appreciated. Like I said, it does help push the stream out a little bit more to more people. And of course, we're on that road to 26,000 subscribers. We need 50 more people to hit subscribe to make that dream a reality. I don't think it's going to happen today, but you never know. You never know. Oh, Thiago's 100% going to score today, by the way. Everybody benching him. He's defo going to score, isn't he? Bench Bowen or Cherky? I probably would bench Cherky. Enzo worth a captaincy punt? Probably not for me. I think it is either between Bruno or Haaland this week. So, yeah. Semenyo or Wirtz? I'd probably go Semenyo this week. Yeah, I probably would go Semenyo this week. He would be the one for me. Do keep your questions coming in, guys. Let me know any questions you've got. Dubravka or Verbergen? I still probably think you could play Verbergen this week. Better clean sheet odds for what are their name? Brighton. Hey Tom, love the content as always. Can you suggest a defender to buy? Already got Gab, Timber, Chalobah, and Tark on limited budget. Munoz maybe. Munoz is probably the only one I think you may be missing out of that complete ultimate defense, really. So yeah. Do I think Watkins and Foden start? I think one of them starts. But yeah, it's still dicey. Let's have a look. What should we have a look at? Let's have a look at the model projections then. This is, of course, my model. If you want to go and check it out, it is available in the FPL cartel. This week, actually, my model thinks that Salah is the best captaincy option, so we'll have to wait and see how that one plays out. Bruno Fernandes in second, Haaland in third, Gabriel in fourth, Chalobah in fifth as well. And Buemo's on there. Sanchez is wrong. For some reason, I put him down as penalty. He's not, so he's a lot lower. Enzo, Mook, Semenyo. So yeah, if you want to go and check out the full model, we can have a play around with it and all that stuff. Like I said, link in the description to the FPL cartel or use the pinned comment. That is, of course, as well where we also do team reviews and stuff like that. So yeah, that is the place to come and get it tested out. And like I said, completely free for 7 days, so come test it out. All good stuff. Can I put my wildcard in the chat? You can, but like I said, the best place for team reviews is to get them in the Discord. Otherwise, the chat moves quite quickly and we don't see it. And yeah, there we go. Do you keep your questions coming in? We've just hit 250 likes on today's stream, so thank you very much for that, guys. Like I said, the numbers have been great in here today, so thank you very much. Really, really do appreciate it. And all the support you've shown throughout today's stream. Would you keep Thiago on a wild card? I personally wouldn't. I think you could definitely go against him and probably attack him a little bit. Senesi does have the fixtures, but if Munoz can do something for Palace again, he'll be the man. Yeah, I agree. Salah has a crazy record against Newcastle. I think it's like 19 returns in 19 games or something like that. Whoa. Whoa. Maybe he is going to be the one then. Semenyo over Wirtz for a -4. Not for me personally. Like I said, I probably played Dubravka ahead of Kelleher. Yeah, that's the route I would go for on that one. So if you've got Kelleher, I would rather play Dubravka. To be fair, let's run through the goalkeepers that I would probably play Dubravka ahead of this week. I think Pickford and Dubravka is close, but I probably would go Pickford still. If you've got Spurs goalkeeper, definitely Donnarumma, I think, could also be maybe worth a shout of potentially looking at it. Who else might people have this week? I'm just trying to think of goalkeepers people might have. Pope, I probably would still maybe go Dubravka. If you've got the West Ham goalkeeper, definitely still Dubravka. Yeah, that's probably about it. And obviously Brentford, if you've got Kelleher, yeah. Other than that, I probably would still be playing Verbergen. Probably still give the nod to Pickford ahead of it. If you've got Petrovic this week, you have to kind of play him. Sanchez has to play. So yeah, that's where I'd stick on that one. A few people are asking me about Pope. I think I'd actually go Dubravka ahead of Pope as well. So yeah, there you go. Could it continue today? Hopefully. Hey, I put him in the TikTok predictions, and people were absolutely battering me for it. Some when I put the model up on socials as well on X, people were battering it like, Salah, that's rubbish, that's crap. But let's wait and see. Hey, let's wait and see where we're at in terms of the projections for it. It could work out. And I kind of want it to work out a little bit. Yeah, it would be fun if it worked out. Just a little bit. Play Gravenberch or Calvert-Lewin. Nice. I think I'd probably go Calvert-Lewin. I like that new name for him, Calvert-Lewin. It's great. Probably bench Grav. Bench one, or maybe Bowen. Yeah, probably Bowen. I have 3 Sunderlands. I don't think they can keep a clean sheet. They've got the best projections this week. Trust the process. They've got the best projections. Back it. Back the projections. Sell Turkey to and Die and Chow to either Timber or Chalobah. I don't mind both of those moves. Yeah, they seem pretty decent. Is Rodgers a must? Should I sell Timber for a cheaper defender to get Rodgers? I don't think he's a must. Yeah, I don't think he's a must. I think obviously double game week players will be a bigger must, to be honest. Thanks, Tom. Would you not prefer buying Senesi over Munoz like suggested? I'm replacing Thiaw this week. The problem I have with the Bournemouth defence is they are just crap away from home. And like that hasn't showed any side of improving. So that is the problem. Personally, for me, I wouldn't go for it. Start Dewsbury or Wilson. I think I'd probably be tempted to maybe have a look at Dewsbury Hall this week ahead of Wilson. Elliot Anderson, Thiago or Szoboszlai. I guess to start, I mean, if Sobo's at right back, he probably should be quite decent for DEFCON this week. Yeah, he could be decent for DEFCON. Elliot Anderson's always pretty steady for DEFCON. Thiago, I never like benching a penalty taker. But he probably is the one that has to go there, right? I think it probably is floor before ceiling, maybe a little bit. Canate to Chalobah for a -4. I don't think I'd do that for a -4, no. I think Canate should be back in today, so yeah, I don't personally think I would do that move for a -4, in my opinion. I can see the Bournemouth game being 1-1 or 2-2. Yeah, Bournemouth will concede. They will concede today. I'm putting it out there. They're going to concede today. Hold or sell Watkins. I mean, it doesn't look like it's a long-term injury, so you probably could hold him. Like, there's still some pretty decent fixtures. You just maybe have to go without him for this week, which could be a little bit problematic. But still, if you've got the bench cover to get away with it, I think you'll be fine. I think it all depends on what sort of minutes we see from Brian, really. If the minutes continue to be a little bit dicey, then maybe Rodgers is the one to go for. Gabriel captain for me today, lad. I think we will get whacked by Arsenal. I think you might score one. I think you might score one, Louis, lad. I think you might score one. Hope you're doing good, mate. Hope you're doing good. Start Senesi or Leeds Anderson. Is that the little? Do you mean Brendan Aronson, not Anderson? I'm a little bit confused by that one, but yeah, let me know if I've got it right. Foden to Mbuemo for a -4. Not for me. Sell Tavernier to Dewsbury Hall or Elliot Anderson. I mean, Elliot Anderson is just a steady Eddie, isn't he? He is, but I think with the potential double for Everton, I maybe would take the gamble on Dewsbury Hall. I think Mane could be an all right pick. And if he gets the double in 26, could be decent. But then you've got to navigate 31 with a player that could blank. So, yeah. Sobo or Enzo captain. Enzo captain ahead of that one for me personally. Start Van Heck or Krupi. I would actually go Van Heck ahead of Krupi this week. If I've got Watkins, I probably still would have him in the lineup. I still would play him, to be honest. Yeah, he still starts for me. I would probably play Anderson. Oh, okay. I probably would go with Senesi on that one. Where's James Garner in your team? No James Garner required, lad. No James Garner required. We're just rolling out with this ropey rubbish this week. So yeah, there we go. Hi Tom, start O'Reilly or Wilson. I think if you think O'Reilly's going to play, then probably would go for it. Hey, it'd be a good signing for Leeds, wouldn't it? Yeah, he'll looks like he could be a decent option at 3.9 as well. Yeah, he could be a decent option. Start Van Dijk or Calvert-Lewin or Calvert-Lewis, as someone put us there. I think I probably would go Virgil van Dijk, but I never like benching my penalty takers. Foden to Enzo or somebody else. Nah, I think that's a completely fine move. Hey, mate, if you weren't such a dick, then you wouldn't get ignored. But cheerio. Done a 4-4-2 with Wilson on the bench. One of Munoz, Timber, Gabriel, or Chalobah, United, or roll. I think I'll probably roll. Start Ekatike or Wilson. I'll probably go Ekatike. I'd probably start Watkins. Like I said, if I've got Watkins this week, I still probably give him the nod. And I start with him. Yeah, I can't believe I've not ended up with Bowen this season. Like, he just is the golden player, isn't he? He is the golden player that I always end up with every season. So maybe we might end up back with him. We'll see. I think KDH probably edges it for me, just in case there is a slight chance of a double for Everton. Yeah, that's probably where I go for it. Cheers, man. Best of weekends. Best of luck to you this weekend, mate. Verbergen or Dubravka. I personally go Verbergen this week. Looking at the Rob T data heading into this game week, we can see that Brighton are at 33%, Burnley only at 21%. So yeah, that's where my mind would go with that one. Oh, wrong one. There we go. Chances of Foden starting or Foden to Rice for a -4. Do I think he's worth a -4? I think if you're confident that Arsenal are going to win midweek and get the double, then maybe it could be worth doing. Yeah, maybe it could be worth doing. Hello, Tarkowski or Konza at home to Brentford. I probably would go with Konza, yeah. Problem is, if I do a 1:30 deadline, there's about 800 people live at that time. So yeah, I'm not going to do it. Who do you think is worth it out of Hill or Jimenez? I personally would think there's probably better options. If you can't afford Senesi, I probably would look elsewhere outside of Bournemouth defence, to be honest. For me anyway. Pick one to buy: João Pedro, Evan Nielsen, or Thiago. I mean, out of all of them, probably I don't really like the forwards, and I don't personally would be looking to buy any of them. Probably Evan Nielsen just for minute security this week, then probably Thiago. But João Pedro, if he does start, could be a fantastic option. It is just the question of, do you think he starts? A lot of the projections have him as not starting this week, so doesn't fill me with confidence. Palmer captain, probably not for me. Again, I think there's either going to be an early sub or maybe we might see him come off the bench today, so probably not. Oh. What's my predictions? Good question. I think Sanchez is in goal. I think Enzo definitely plays. I think Palmer probably starts. I don't think João Pedro starts. I think it probably is going to be Delap. I think Caicedo probably goes for it as well. I'm going to create an AI agent to count the number of times Tom says that he doesn't like to bench penalty takers. Look, I have these questions a lot, don't I? But yeah, it probably is one of the catchphrases of the stream, isn't it? I don't like benching penalty takers. But it's true. I don't because you never know when they could just pop up with a random penalty, come away with a decent points haul, and then you're crying, aren't you? You're crying then. Palmer plays 64 minutes, apparently, according to his thing. All right, well, we'll see. We'll see what happens with Palmer's juicy little minutes. When building a team to either chase rank or consolidate, use double Arsenal or triple, as a majority of the top 10 seemingly has double or less. Cheers. I think I probably would go with the double just in case they have the double game week. Like, it's going to put you in good stead already. You know what I mean? It's going to put you in a pretty decent position to go and, like, you know, be ready for the double game week. So I think if I was on a, you know, building a team this week, whether that be a wild card or looking for transfers, I think Arsenal players are still pretty decent buys. Like, the fixtures are still pretty good if they don't get the double regardless. Sanchez or Martinez in goal, I would personally go for Sanchez this week. Yeah, that's where my mind would be at with that one. Do keep your questions coming in, guys. Anything you want to know ahead of the deadline? Where are we at in terms of the subs for this week? We still need a decent whack. So I don't think 26k is going to happen. You never know. I've seen stranger things happen, but let's wait and see. Yeah, if I was on a wild card as well, I probably would be maybe looking at like 1 or 2 forwards max. FPL unrelated, what do you apply to your hair? I can't remember. Do you know what it's called? Do you want to text it me? Yeah. There we go. Sell Ekatike. I think I'm personally going to keep him for this week because it looks like he could start. But yeah, you could probably maybe get away with selling him this week. Saw at 6.3 could be interesting. John Frieda salt spray or something like that is the text I just got. But yeah, it's John Frieda something. So yeah, thank you to Matcha Mills for the suggestion, improving my hair game. If you watch some of the old streams, you will see my hairline all the way back here, and you will see my hair not in good condition. So yeah, there we go. Having doubts, Foden out for Enzo and Buemo Semenyo. I probably would look at the first two. I think they're great long-term picks. Start Dubravka or Pickford. I personally would lean more towards Pickford, and that is the way that I've gone, but could very easily be a 50-50 call. And I believe, is it close? I can't remember which one has the better numbers for this week. Let's have a look. Burnley at 21, Everton at 19. So if you really want to go with the Dubravka one, thank you. Frizzy's Dream Curls by John Frieda. There you go. So yeah, 21% for Burnley and 19% for Everton. So if you are a man who looks at the clean sheet numbers, then maybe that is going to be it. I'm just going to quickly have a look if we've got any updated projections from Rob this morning. Let's have a cheeky gander at that. If we have, yeah, here we go. So we've got some updated projections, and it has made the numbers look even more tight. Is that right? Even more tighter. There we go. So Arsenal are now joint top with Sunderland for projected clean sheets for this week, so that's good. Everton have also had a slight increase in their clean sheet probabilities, making it only now a 1% difference between, of course, Everton and Burnley. So again, makes that decision even harder. Cities are at 32, Forest at 35 for this week, pretty decent numbers. United as well, their numbers definitely creeping up in terms of the projected goals. So yeah, there you go. There you go. Only a 27% probability of a clean sheet for Bournemouth as well. The bookmakers not really fancying them too much for a clean sheet. So yeah, not ideal. Not ideal, that one. Let's switch back. Oh, come on. There we go. Let's switch back. Let's see what's going off in the chat. I think with my team, it's all dependent on who doubles. Like that is going to be the big thing on where this team eventually goes. Like is purely down to the doubles and getting ourselves in a position of being in the best place possible for the doubles. That's really where I want the team to be anyway. So yeah. I think Thingy being out as well could also be quite a big blow for Sunderland. Xhaka out for 3 weeks could genuinely be a big blow for Sunderland. Yeah, they are really, really bad, aren't they? They are genuinely terrible. Not a great unit at the back. So yeah. Evanilson or Thiago. I would prefer to have Evanilson this week, but at the end of the day, if you're asking me for a transfer, I don't think I personally would go for it. Would Munoz be included on your wild card? Yes, I think I would include Munoz on my wild card. If I was to build a wild card right now, I think I probably would have either Raya, Pickford, or Sanchez in goal. I probably would have Gabriel, Timber, Munoz. If you can't afford Munoz, maybe a Richards. Yeah, in midfield, Bruno, Rice, Enzo, Rogers, then probably like an Embuemo maybe. Up front, Haaland, and then maybe an Evanilson, maybe a Bowen. That would probably be about it. Kieran Dewsbury-Hall maybe the other alternative cheap midfielder if they get the double. That's probably where else my mind would go. Who would you go between Evanilson or Thiago for longer term? I think Bournemouth have got the fixtures right now for the next 4 ahead of Brentford, but we've seen this before, haven't we? We've really seen this before with Thiago. Is he will go through these patches where just nothing happens, and then explosions, big double-digit hauls all of a sudden start occurring for him. And we could be in a very similar position where maybe we see that again, where all these games where people are selling him, and then all of a sudden he's now back at it. Thank you for the donation. Bench 2, start 3. Rogers, Cash, Thiago, Wilson, Krupi. I think you bench Krupi and either Wilson or Thiago for me personally. I think you start both the Villa boys. It is then just a question of, do you play like if you're playing Cash, then maybe you want to bench Thiago. So yeah, Rogers, Cash, Wilson, probably for me. There we go. I don't think it's necessarily worth the transfer right now. I think maybe where it is going to be worth the transfer is looking at like the doubles and stuff. And obviously Palace not having the double doesn't make them worth looking at, in my opinion. But yeah, if there was no double game week coming up, I think I would be a lot more tempted. But with the double game week, I think that's where the priority transfers need to be, in my personal opinion. So yeah, that's where my mind would personally be. Will João Pedro start this week? According to FPL Wave, who kind of compiles all the predictions, it's around 50-50. So, some have them, some don't. I think personally Delap might start. So yeah. Hope more people sell Verts. If you watch him, you know the big calls are only a matter of time away. Maybe you're on something. If I have Ndai, Laffy, or KDH, you asking me which one to play this week? If I was going to pick anyone, I probably would go maybe Enzo Laffy. Yeah. Second to that would be Ndai. Third would be KDH. Would you start Cash? I would be tempted with Cash. I think we saw the vulnerability. I can't remember how you pronounce his name, but I think we saw the vulnerability of him getting slung off at halftime. Yeah, it did put him slightly ahead, but again, like 0.1 in terms of projections is like genuinely minimal. Like it, yeah. I think when you get down to like the 0.1s, the 0.2s, it then becomes just personal preference and looking at other external factors to kind of make your decisions. Would you start O'Reilly or Tark? I think if you think O'Reilly is going to play, I think he's the better option this week. But otherwise, if you want a safe and steady option, then go Tark. Hi, mate. Start 2 out of Anderson from Forest, Enzo Laffy, and Wilson. Good luck for the game week. I think I probably would go Anderson and Laffy. Yeah, those would be the ones for me. Would you consider a 4-5-1 with Bruno, Enzo, Rice, and Buemo Rogers and sell Evan Nielsen for Mane? Wildcard, by the way. Yeah, you could get away with that. You could get away with that. I don't mind it. I do think the strikers this year are very poor. So yeah, I don't mind it. I don't mind it. We are approaching 300 likes on today's stream. So if you are enjoying it, do let me know by hitting that like button. See if we can get today's stream up to 300 likes. We're going to do a new poll. So a lot of you do think Haaland will blank. I think we'll end it with a captaincy poll for this week. Let's put it as who best cap game week 24. So we've got Haaland. We've got Bruno F. And then I'll put other. There we go. So yeah, one final poll. Gahey over Munoz on the wildcard. I personally would prefer Munoz. I just think like he is one of those players that could be really explosive with some decent fixtures coming up for Palace. So yeah, that's probably where my mind would be at with that one. Who to start between Laffy and Alderente? Oh, good question. Should we have a look? Who comes out ahead on the model? Let's have a look for this week. Alderente. Enzo Laffy. Enzo Laffy comes out ahead at 5.2. So I probably would just start him. I would be tempted to maybe start both. Both are looking pretty decent for projections this week. So yeah, I don't mind it. Start Henderson or Dubravka. I think I'd go Dubravka this week. Should I take a -4 hit for Hall? No, not for me. Not for me personally, anyway. Saliba and Senesi or Timber and Jimenez. Probably the Timber option. Senesi or Hugo Bueno. Senesi. Sell Cherky and get Enzo or Rice. Yep. 100%. If you've got the ability to do that, go and do that. I'd highly recommend doing that. Start 2 between Ndai, Gahey, Thiago, Mook. Mook and probably Gahey would make the cut for me. Yeah. Don't mind Ndai, don't mind Thiago. Obviously, someone said it earlier. My catchphrase is never bench penalty takers, or I don't like benching penalty takers, but yeah. Who to bench between Laffy, Alderente, and Ndai then? Oh, that is a good question. Let's have a look where the model ranks all of them. Let's chuck in Ndai in here. And when I say model, I mean my own model that I have built, by the way. I'm not just like chatting shit. I've built the model. If you want to come and have a look, it is available in the FPL Cartel Discord, which is the pinned comment. It actually has Laffy and Alderente ahead of Ndai this week. So there you go. Hopefully that helps with your decision. Lazy Saturday tradition. Love to see it. Love to see it. That's what we're here for. We're here to obviously help people out before all the big boys do go live a little bit closer to the deadline. Because I feel like you've got so much coverage there, haven't you? You've got Focal, you've got Andy, you've got Raptor, you've got Harry. There's just so many to pick from already that, you know, are you going to come and sit with me? Probably not. You're probably going to just flick round between those boys. So I might as well go a little bit earlier and chat to you here. Gordon, hold or sell? I probably would put him in the sell. I think there's a lot of good midfield options emerging at the moment that I think you will probably want ahead of it. Am I selling Chow? Not right away. I think while, we've got bigger issues to deal with, so he's going to remain for now. I'm going to start him this week ahead of Anderson. Like, it's so tight between the two of them. But yeah, we're going with Chow ahead of Anderson for that one. Hi, Tom. Bench Roofs or Sanchez? Oh, I think you go with the better clean sheet probability, so Sanchez probably ends up on the bench this week. Who's bench? I think it's between Harry Wilson and Thiago for me personally. Dorgu to Hill to save money. Don't mind it. Don't mind it if it enables other moves. Yeah, really don't mind that as a potential option to go for. Do keep your questions coming in. Anything you do want to know. Any late update on Van der Ven? Nothing as of yet. All we've got is the press conference comments from yesterday, where it is touch and go. That's all I've got for you. Timber and Sanchez or Chalobah and Pickford? Ooh, I think I prefer Chalobah and Pickford, Yeah. Nah, I believe in you, mate. I believe in you, but yeah, I think most would probably jump ship. Start Hall or Anderson this week? You probably have to go Hall, right? Team reviews are done over in the FPL Cartel Discord now. So if you do want your team reviewing, it is available there. It is the pinned comment, so get yourself over there. Cunha to Bruno for a hit this week, or don't buy Bruno and observe Cunha's minutes. I think you could probably observe Cunha's minutes, right? That'd be fine. Start Van Heck and Keane or Delo and Keane. I would be a little bit concerned about Michael Keane even starting the game. I'd probably go Delo and Van Heck. Yeah, I'm genuinely a little bit concerned about his minutes. Do I need 2 Arsenal defenders on my wildcard? I probably would be looking at a triple up in terms of Arsenal players in case they get the double, and they've got the higher probability of getting the double game week just because of the position they're in. So, yeah, I feel like you have to consider it. The problem with João Pedro is the FPL wave predictions, which kind of puts them all together, all the predictions from like the top predictors, has João Pedro a like 50%. So 50% have him in, 50% don't have him in. That for me is probably enough for me not to go for it this week. Yeah, I have been asked this question. I think you could definitely go Evan Nielsen next few weeks over Thiago. The fixtures just aren't there. But Thiago is always going to be a player that will just score goals. Like, Brentford aren't bad. He's on penalties as well, playing decent minutes. And I don't really see too much of an upgrade for going for Evan Nielsen compared to that. Oh, my voice today is on the ropes a little bit. We'll be wrapping up at 11:30. That is where, of course, we will let all the big boys go and do their thing. Is it a good time to wildcard? Not for me personally. I think wildcard window is 32. I think that is just the best strategy to go for. Yeah, but then you've also got to factor in that Timber is the leading defender for non-penalty XGI, so he's also could get a big juicy mega haul out of it. Chalobah or Senesi for Keane? Chalobah for me. Yeah. Obviously, decent fixtures, and then a potential double game week if they progress through the Carabao. So yeah, there you go. Any questions you've got, guys, do let me know in the chat before we wrap up today. We'll try and answer as many as we possibly can before we obviously wrap things up. Yeah, please don't spam. We will try and get around to as many questions as we can before we finish up. Where are we at in terms of subs for today? Oh, we only need 20 to hit 26k. So if you haven't already, make sure you are hitting that subscribe button. It is really appreciated. Enzo or Rogers? I probably would go with Enzo for me, to be honest. Who to bench? Saka, Rice, Harry Wilson, Thiago. I think it's between Harry Wilson and Thiago for me. No worries, mate. Best of luck this game week. Donnarumma or Dubravka to start. I probably would go Donnarumma. Who to bench? Wilson, Semenyo, Bruno G. Probably go Bruno G on that one. Start and bench Raya, Dubravka. I think you play Raya. I played a wild card, have Sanchez, Gabriel Cash. Thoughts? Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of Harry Wilson on wild card, but he'd be the only probably one I would swap there. Should I take Timber and Sanchez over Chalobah and Pickford to have 3 Arsenal players? Yeah, I probably would. I'm starting Ekatike. Should I start Hall or Anderson this week? I would probably go Hall. Tarkowski to Chalobah. I don't mind it. Does seem quite a luxury move, but yeah, at the same time, I don't mind it. We need 7 more likes, by the way, to hit 300 on today's stream. So if you are enjoying it, make sure you are hitting that like button, that subscribe button, all that good stuff. Where are we at in terms of the poll numbers for this week then? Bruno F. 63% of you are going with Bruno F as your captain for this week. A lot going against Haaland. A lot going against Haaland this week. But I still think Haaland will be the clear and obvious, casual captain pick. Most will still probably go with him. So he'll still be well over 150 EO this week. Best asset to have apart from Bruno F. Somebody in the Chelsea West Ham game could really go off, I think. Yeah, that'd probably be the other one where there could be a big, explosion of points. Do I like penne pasta? Yeah, it's all right. Rigatoni's clear though. Rigatoni is clear. Sharda to Matoma. Neither of those moves really get me excited or push me off my seat, to be honest. So yeah, probably not for me. If you want to protect rank, probably Haaland just because of his effective ownership. Like Bruno will still be quite high. Bruno will probably be like 80, 90 if a lot of people are going for it. But yeah, Haaland probably is the one. If you really wanted to protect rank, he's probably the one. Rogers is going to score 2 goals, probably. Pickford and Richards, or Sanchez and Munoz. Sanchez and Munoz for me would be the better pairing. Ekatike to JP. I'm personally not doing that just because I'm not 100% convinced that João Pedro starts, or maybe even plays decent minutes. So yeah, I would personally not go for it. Start Wilson or Thiago. It is really a tight call. They're both level on my model for predicted points this week, so I would probably maybe just start the penalty taker and go with Thiago. Chalobah or Dewsbury Hall. Chalobah all the way. He's absolutely class as Chalobah, so yeah, I'd go for him. We're 1 like away from 300, so let's see if we can make that happen. 1 juicy little like. Probably not for me. I think there's probably better defenders to be selecting. Start Raya or Dubravka. I would go with Raya. Yeah, Raya for me. I'm not 100% convinced Michael Keane starts the game. So I probably would go with Lewis Hall. We have just hit 300 likes, so thank you very, very much for your support on today's stream. Massively, massively appreciated as always. You've been absolutely class today, guys. Like really, really good. So thank you very much again for your continued support. Thoughts on Ekatike to Bowen and Tavernier to Enzo? Don't hate both of those moves. Yeah, I think both of those moves are fine.
O'Reilly or Dewsbury Hall. Or I probably would go... If you think O'Reilly's going to play O'Reilly, if not, I'd go with Dewsbury Hall. O'Reilly or Collins, I probably would go O'Reilly. Raya or Verbergen, I probably would go with Raya. I have Harry Wilson. Should I swap him for Enzo? I think that's a pretty decent move, to be honest. I sold Foden for Semenyo, 0.1 out from getting Bruno F. Oof, rough. That is rough. Very rough indeed. Do keep your questions coming in, guys. Obviously, we'll be wrapping up in a minute and letting the big boys go and do their things. But any questions you've got before the deadline, do, of course, let me know. And we'll try and answer as many as we possibly can. Make sure you hit and subscribe. And yeah, as we're close, ridiculously close, 12 people off 26k. So there you go. Evan Nielsen is your captain. Not for me personally. I think, it is a good fixture, but I think he's already a good enough differential where you don't need to captain him. Hi, FPL Tom. Harry Maguire or Gehi. Semenyo or Enzo. I think Semenyo could be good this week, but I probably would prefer Enzo longer term with a double game week and stuff like that. You're one of the big boys now, mate. I hope, but I don't think I am. Nah. We've still got a long way to go. Kelleher or Dubravka? I would play Dubravka ahead of Kelleher this week. Golden goal sent us here. What a legend. Cheers, Tom. Of course, if you haven't already, go and check out Tom's channel. Amazing stuff as always over on there. Enzo and Pedro, they're going to start. I think Enzo will. I'm not 100% sure about Pedro. He is at 50% on out of all the predicted lineups for Chelsea. Should I put Enzo in over Semenyo, Rice, Rodgers, Bruno Fernandes, or Wilson? I think if you can do the Wilson to Enzo one, that is the move I probably would make for me personally. Bruno Fernandes or Haaland? I'm guessing you mean in terms of captaincy. I'm going with Bruno. I think both are great shouts this week, but for me, Bruno, and the fact that Fulham have conceded the most goals to Cam/number 10s in the Premier League is enough vindication for me to go with Bruno Fernandes this week. Yeah, so there you go. There we go. Bench, Thiago, Timber, Gabriel, or Gehi and Chalobah. Probably Thiago drops to the bench there for me. Who do I support? I support Mansfield Town. They are my team. So yeah, there we go. League One. Bit of low league football, but yeah, that's who I support. We need 8 subscribers to hit 26,000 subscribers. So if you aren't already, make sure you are hitting that subscribe button. Make sure you're smashing the like button as well. And yeah, get your questions in. Best 4.4 million defender for a bench boost. I think Richards is at 4.4 and a pretty decent option. So yeah, I don't mind him as a potential guy to go for. What are my top 5 captains? Bruno, Haaland. Then I reckon maybe like a Gabriel, a Chalobah, and then probably an Enzo. Yeah, they're probably the ones I would go for. Bench between Thiago or Krupi. I would actually play Thiago ahead of Krupi. Chalobah or João Pedro on the wild card this week. Chalobah for me is the better asset. Pickford or Dubravka. I think it's extremely tight. There's only 1% difference in terms of clean sheet probabilities. So I would actually, I think it's a personal call, but I'm going with Pickford. But Palmer captain, probably not. I think he either plays reduced minutes or doesn't start today. So that would be the concern for me. Bench Wilson versus Manchester United or Bowen versus Chelsea. I think with Bowen having the penalties, he gets the nod ahead of Wilson for me. Hi Tom, would you bench between Thiago, Ekitike and Wilson? Probably between Wilson and Thiago for me. So yeah, they're the two. And I never like leaving a penalty taker on the bench is how I kind of see my sides, to be honest. We need 2 subscribers, by the way, to hit 26,000 on today's stream. So yeah, insane stuff. So thank you very much. Is Semenyo a crazy captaincy shout? Not really. If I bring up my own model, which you can, of course, go and see for yourself in the FPL Cartel Discord, which is the pinned comment, you can see Semenyo is one of the picks this week for, to do exceptionally well for predicted points. If you see Sanchez on there, that one is a little bit of a typo. I accidentally put him as a penalty taker, so it upped his points massively. So he's not on this list. But yeah, they're the top predicted points for this game week then. So Salah, interestingly top. We'll have to wait and see how that one pans out. Bruno, Haaland, Gabriel, Chalobah, like I said, and Buemo also could be a pretty decent captaincy shout for someone that asked me as well on that one as well. Bench Bruno G versus Liverpool or bench Gahey. I would rather bench Bruno G in my personal opinion. Yeah, that's the one I would rather go for. But yeah, we'll wait and see. Thank you very, very much, guys. We've absolutely just smashed through it. We are at 26,000 subscribers. So yeah, thank you very much. Really do appreciate that. Yeah, yeah, great stuff. Not sure why you don't think you're as good as the other deadline streams. I'd choose you. Oh, I appreciate it, man. It's not that I don't think I'm like good enough or anything. I just know they've already got their large audiences and competing against like 5 or 6 massive accounts. It's never really going to work out. So yeah, but yeah, of course we'll be live in the Discord after this, answering your questions, giving you advice. So if you want to come and join that, once today's stream is finished in about 1 or 2 minutes, then of course, yeah, there you go. There is the link to the sub launch. Right, I think we're going to leave it there. I think this is a perfect place to leave it. To be honest, 26,000 subscribers. Thank you very, very much, guys. Really do appreciate it. The support today has been incredible. Thank you very much. And yeah, best of luck this game week. And I'll of course be uploading a little bit later tonight, so we'll see you for that one. Any further questions, like I said, guys, get yourself in the FPL Cartel Discord, and yeah, we'll be wrapping things up there. Thank you very much. Best of luck. See you the other side in game week 25. Bye.